really like people really get me mad when it's like they it's like you say things, but it's like they don't even listen to the words that come out your mouth. They hear what they want to hear, right?
Oh, I've been saying this.
Yeah, bro, it's so annoying. Like I literally said word for word, Dell beat Julius Randle 1-on-1. And then all the comments is like, Dell has no chance. Duh, why do you even think that he could possibly beat him? I'm like, I didn't say that. I said he literally beat him. Like, what are you guys talking about? He literally did that. So it's like people are so stuck on their own biases, bro. It's like even when the truth happens, it's like they're like, how long did it take for people to actually believe Michael Beasley beat LeBron James 1-on-1?
Yeah, people. You ask enough people, they're still in denial about that.
Exactly, bro. Like when it comes to that one-on-one game, the talent gap gets really shorter when it comes to when it comes to one-on-ones. Which is why I wanted for the All-Star game. There's gonna be so much upsets, bro, and all these people are gonna be like Steph Curry is liable to lose to somebody that is probably like on the bench. Like it is what it is, bro, and
Yeah,
that's what
but
makes it so fun.
those stars won't do it simply for that reason. Like Steph isn't about to do a 1-on-1 to find out that he's gonna lose to Aaron Holiday. Like he's not gonna do that.
I hate that though. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that though? That would be so fun. Like, it's just a game, bro. Like, go out there, have some fun.
Image protection, I guess. Like imagine LeBron participates in a 1-on-1.
LeBron would never do that. He don't want to lose, and he
And
know
then
he would lose to a lot
exactly,
of
and
people.
then you find out that LeBron is losing to Benedict Mathurin. Like it's just not going to be a good image for him. He gets nothing from it. If he beats them, it's you're LeBron. You're meant to beat them.
Yeah.
MJ would beat them, and then
Hmm.
he doesn't. And oh my God, you call yourself the goat? Like
Yeah, the NBA Matrix is crazy. It's such a big rabbit hole, and it's like it's like come on, guys. Like if somebody can't beat somebody 1-on-1, doesn't take what they can do on the 5-on-5 game. Like it's just 1-on-1. It's meant for fun.
that's what I've been trying to say. But people seem to not understand that 5-on-5 and 1-on-1 they're not the same sport. Just because you
No,
dribble a basketball, you're not playing the same sport. They're completely different.
nah, it is completely different, bro. It's completely different, bro. Like 5-on-5, bro. I hate playing 5-on-5 sometimes, mainly because like I don't know how to handle when everybody collapses on me. So it's like it's annoying. But 1-on-1, I love playing 1-on-1 to everybody. 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s. But when it comes to 5-on-5, it's like so many people all at one point, one spot is like that shit annoying, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I hate it. I hate it sometimes, bro. But anyways, welcome to the show, bro. Welcome to the show, fellas. We got everybody here in the chat. The future is now old, man. It's something that's been coming along recently, bro. Started by Gabe. Shout out to you. The future is now old heads. I heard that they was doing a lot of talking on the panel on Tuesday, man. A lot of talking.
Yeah, we disrespect the older generations. So and that's gonna be us one day when we have kids or whatever, or the kids when we're 60. They're gonna be saying that LeBron was playing against plumbers, Kobe was playing against plumbers, etc. And then we're gonna
Podcasters.
yeah, and then we're gonna be offended just the way they are
But
offended.
that's the thing. Like, I won't be offended though. Like, I won't. I actually can't wait. I can't wait for talks like that. I can't wait to have those talks with my little nieces and nephews about that. Mainly because it'll be fun. Like, it's life. We're all gonna get old. We all were young. We're all gonna get old. It's like we all gonna be put 6 feet under. Like, it is what it is. It's a circle of life. And now I don't know why the old heads get so sensitive about that. It is what it is. Like, whatever. It's whatever. Doesn't take away.
I just find it funny because I know, for example, 40 years from now, if I have kids or whatever, and they start trying to tell me, like, because I get it, that's what you have to do. You have to say the older generation was trash. But if they say, "Oh, Steph Curry was trash. He played against nobodies," and then I show them some Steph Curry highlights, they're gonna change their mind. But when we say Jerry West is trash, and you try showing me some Jerry West highlights, all that does is confirm what I was saying. That's gonna be the difference. I'm gonna show you guys Steph Curry highlights, and you're gonna see this guy was cold because
Hmm.
he's cold.
Hmm.
These old heads try to show you Jerry West, and you're seeing 100 billion, no crossovers, no nothing. Of course, it's gonna get taken the mick out of. I don't. I mean, it makes sense. I don't do it. unless I'm trolling, but it makes
Hmm.
sense.
I feel you. Like we have to, and that's why I said like even with some of the new generations coming up, I don't see them having such a turn on this generation mainly because of like the things that these guys are doing is like outworldly. You feel me? Like I find it hard. I do find it hard to see what else, like what other things that they can improve upon in the game in terms of like skill set, like shooting and dribbling. I think the next step for the evolution of basketball is probably like KDs and Victor Wembanyama's and big 6'6", 6'7" guards playing on the perimeter a lot, 6'9", 6'10". But other than that, bro, is like the skill set of the NBA is like there's no way you can sit here and look at Gilbert Arenas, Kobe, um, even Paul George, bro, and just be like, nah, this dude is not trash. But I'm not gonna lie, I could just sit here and look at like a Elgin Baylor, the few clips, the few games that he has, or like a John Havlicek too is like it's nothing crazy. Like it's just like it's like So we just got to be real with that. I'm gonna put the Streamyard link in the Streamyard link in the chat right now for you guys. You guys get up here, bro. But it is what it is, man. Like I think we all have to come to terms with this is the future. This is the unspoken truth that nobody just wants to admit. Like at the end of the day, we can't deny the fact of evolution, bro. And because of the players growing up, learning from the guys in the past, learning from what they did, learning on how they improved in the game, it overall creates a better product. And then created a better product. I mean, I'm happy with that though. Like when I have my kids and everything, my job as a parent is to make sure that they're better than me without having to go through the struggles that I went through. You feel me? And
So
so I
you
will want
so
them. I will want them to be better than me. I will want the future generation to be better than my generation that came up. I don't know why the old heads need to be mad about that. That the players today are just that much better than players back then because that's what you want. You want the future generations to be better than you. You want the future players to be better than what we had before. So I don't know why we have to sit here and be mad about the fact that these guys are just better. It is what it is.
so you think this generation is better than all the previous generations?
Like on average, and then the great players, yeah, I will have to, yeah.
So this is the best era of basketball
In terms of like talent,
in terms of the game being better.
best ever of basketball. Yeah, from the 2000s onward, yes. I love the 2000s. That's a little like my own personal bias, but yeah, from the 2000s onward, I think is the best eras of basketball. 80s was great though. 80s was great. I would say that. 80s was great. 90s was just being dominated, but that was good as well. But I think the 2000s and then the 2000s onward is like I think those were the best eras of basketball.
No love for the 70s.
No, 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 it was terrible. No matter what I say, everybody has their minds made up. This is all because of me. What? Leaf, what are you talking about? I don't know what Leaf is talking about.
Leaf,
What is
Leaf,
Leaf?
Leaf enjoys talking. I think he's talking about how we changed the setup of the show to like one or two people at a time
Oh,
because Leaf took all the screen time. So we was like,
oh
let's
no, no,
change
no,
that.
no, 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 no. Dub putting 25 years up against 10 years is nasty. Euro, get up here, Euro. I miss Euro, bro. What's good, fam? How you doing, bro?
What's good with y'all, bro?
Good, good, fam. What you down to talk about today, my guy?
I ain't gonna front, so I'm down to talk about what y'all were just discussing. But, bro, I ain't gonna lie. We gotta talk about that man, Steph, bro. We gotta
Okay.
talk about Steph, bro. Bro, I asked this question in the Discord earlier, bro. I think Steph might be the least clutch superstar of all time. Like when I like, bro, like you can't tell me it's not a prop. All right, let's agree on this. Let's agree on this. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. It's not even close.
I mean,
Yep.
Larry Bird. I mean,
Oh, whatever.
if it
Why is
Larry
it
Bird's the
whenever
best.
Steph, but
exactly.
why is it whenever Steph takes a game-winning shot, I never fear he's gonna make it. Never. I saw him take a wide open mid-range shot on a Wednesday night against the Timberwolves last night, and then miss it, and then get outplayed by Nazir Reed in overtime. I just can't, bro. The man is just like when I watch Steph, bro. He's the greatest front runner I've ever seen. He's great, bro. Don't get me wrong. But the man, like, let me give it to you in this analogy, bro. Let's say if y'all was fighting, right? Let's say you and your guys was fighting at the bar. Steph the nigga, he gonna wait. Sorry for my language. He
You
gonna
cool, you
wait.
cool.
He gonna wait for you to knock somebody out, for him to run up on the nigga and then kick him while he's down and say, yeah, make it seem like he did something. That's what Steph is, bro. I don't fear him, bro. Like when he knows everything's going right, he gonna dance around, he gonna sleep and
You gonna
everything
hit
like
the
that.
big shots.
Yeah, but when the pressure's applied and when people look at him like, no, I'm here, like I'm not going nowhere, he folds, bro. And then they always make an excuse for him. The man is 2 in what, like 15? And his in like last 5 years in overtime, that's not it, bro. He's 0-8 in his last 8 overtime games on the road. He is not a closer, bro. How are you one of the greatest scorers of all time, and I don't fear you closing games? They act like him hitting a shot to put him up 9 with 3 minutes left is clutch. That's not clutch, bro. That's not, bro. So what are we doing here, bro? Like he's just not one of them to me, bro. They can make it seem like all they want, but I don't fear him, bro. He gets to put his head down. He gets to be quiet. His fans, they look and they say, well, he's running around all game, so it makes sense by the end of the game that it's that. I don't give a damn about none of that. Get the job done. They always say, oh, it's tired. His arm hurts, bro. I don't care, bro. He's getting outplayed by Nazir Reed in overtime, bro. Like, it makes no sense, bro. Isn't it funny how Clay, he missed the most time in these last few years, right? And that's when their overtime record's so worse. Why? Because Clay's the closer, bro. Even the 3-1 lead against the Thunder, who was responsible for the game that sent it to a game 7? Clay, bro. Like, what is Steph's big like moment? Where is his 29 points straight like LeBron? Where is his moment like Clay? Where is it, bro? I don't see it. I see him having good efforts and they lose still. I saw him drop 49 against the Raptors in the finals and lose, bro. He's just not one of them, bro.
He's
I'm
not
sorry.
that guy.
He's not that guy, bro. He's not, bro. It's
Mars,
sad.
what do you got to say to that, Mars? What do you got to say to that, Mars?
I don't fully agree, but I don't fully disagree. I mean, I think Steph's had moments. I mean, I'd argue Game 4 in the finals last year was a big moment.
Yeah,
I
the
think
43. Yeah, I'll give you that. But even, bro, even that, I feel like, bro, they did not fear the Celtics, bro. I really feel like they knew when the Celtics got there. They said, okay, once this series gets late, and they saw Jason Tatum game 1, they said, oh yeah, he's not ready. This man texting deceased people before the game. He's not ready for us, bro. Like he's not, bro. He's just. They know when everything's going right that they got to get the job done. But once that pressure gets applied, bro, he
I
folds,
feel
bro.
you. I feel you, bro.
He
I really feel
folds,
you, bro. I'm
so.
bro.
not gonna hold you.
So
I
Steph was
feel
front
him.
running last year because he knew
I
Boston weren't a
feel
threat,
you.
so he was just front running the whole series.
I feel like, bro.
It's
I
like
feel like
Mars. It's like
If he played the Bucks, he wouldn't have had a series like that because he would
nah,
have known the
Mars.
Bucks
You
were a
gotta
threat.
think about it
Oh,
like this. You gotta think about it like this.
okay.
It's like when you coming up, you've been in the league for a while. It's like you looking at the cells like, oh, those my little bros. Like those my little bros. You
Oh, so
feel me? Like I
he was
see
playing more chilled. He was relaxed.
he was
yeah,
playing. He
bro. He
playing
was
against my
chilling.
little
I don't really
bros.
got
You
to worry
feel me?
about this because
I
he
kind
got
of
socked one good time. It's like, oh, then he's
hey.
like, okay, let me get serious a little bit. That's
And
what
what
he did.
happened? What happened against the 2018 Rockets? What happened against the 2018 Rockets? Right, a
Mm-hmm.
team that was challenging them. What was he doing before CP3 got hurt?
It wasn't great.
It was not great. It
When
was terrible.
CP3 was dancing in his
Then
face. See, that's the thing about Steph.
when CP3 got hurt, then
Exactly, bro.
Steph started going bananas.
What about Game 6, 2019, where he had 33 in the second half? Is that not closing a series, closing a game?
Who was that against?
Houston.
Houston.
When
I remember.
KD
Yeah,
went
I do remember
down.
that game. Now
Like,
that see,
I
I'm
got
not.
the game
But here's the
6.
thing, Mars. I'm not saying there's no moments. What I'm saying is people are already trying to make the argument that this man is a top 10 player ever, that he's the greatest point guard of all time, and they just make it seem like he just does this all the time. And I'm just sitting here like, no, bro. Like, in my opinion, more oftentimes than not, bro, Steph is not closing. He's not getting the job done. When his team's up 15, or even when his team's down 15 in the third quarter, Steph is good. But whenever it's a close game, me personally, speaking as a person who's watched this man since early Golden State days, everything like that, the man, I just don't think he has that killer instinct, bro. And I hate using terms like that, but I really don't think
I
he
feel you.
likes that
feel you.
moment, bro. I
I'm
really don't
taking
think,
Iguodala. I'm taking Iguodala, bro, 100%.
man, man,
I
you
feel
might
you
as
though.
well,
I
bro.
think this is. I think, and that's why like when Andrew Iguodala made that take, like when he said it, I always got confused on why everybody hated him so much because in my head I'm like, I didn't think he was wrong for saying that. Like
But you're
When it comes to,
also a known Steph Curry hater at the time.
I am a known Steph Curry hater, but even and then I looked into Andrea Iguodala. He when it comes to like game winners or like buzzer beaters and everything, he's up there with like Melo and like Paul Pierce. Like Iguodala does have that. I've seen Iguodala show up in the clutch before, and like Stephen Curry is like I don't see Stephen Curry really like answering those calls like that. I mean, that's just something I've seen for his whole entire career. He's a front runner, which is why I say KD saved this man's legacy, bro. He
Bro,
saved
his
this
his
man's
only
legacy.
buzzer beaters against the Rockets, bro, in like a game that nobody cares about, like the middle of February of last year. Like he's just
So why did you care so much about this game in February and against the Timberwolves?
because I'm watching it, bro, and I'm just sitting here like, there's no way they're gonna lose this game. So when it's Steph's wide open for that mid-range shot at the end of the game, I'm like, bro, there's no way he's gonna miss this. And if he does miss it, he's gonna make up for it in overtime. Then I watch overtime, bro. The man's body language just doesn't do it for me, bro. Like he just looks like he'd be rattled by the moments. Even that's
Hmm.
just how it appears to me. He looks like he'll be rattled by the moments, bro. They
Man,
haven't won
that
an OT game in a very long time. It
really? When's the last time they won an OT team? I don't.
their record in OT games, I believe it was like I saw out of his last like 13, he's like 1 of 13 is like his last 5 OT games, bro. 1 of 13.
Damn, that's crazy.
He's not even, I don't know what it is, bro, but he doesn't get the job done. And there's always something with stuff. There's always an excuse. Then they bring up, certain moments. I'm not saying it never happens, but I'm saying more times than not, I'm going to live. Like there's no way in the world. I would never say I'll live with Ray Allen taking the last shot. I'll live with Reggie Miller taking the last shot. I'm saying it now. I'll live with Steph Curry taking the last shot. I don't give a damn. The nigga can pull up from 30 feet. He can pull up from 25. I feel like he's going to miss it 8 times out of 10.
Mars, what you gotta say about your favorite player, man?
I don't think Steph Curry is my favorite player, but I
Wait,
don't
wait. How are you a Golden State Warriors fan if Steph or
because
KD's not your favorite
they
player?
were the best team in the league, and I was bandwagoning. That's why I'm not a Golden
Oh
State fan
wow.
anymore.
Okay, okay.
But I think it makes sense because when you're like Steph and you generate so many of these difficult shots, because once you get down into the clutch, field goal percentage actually starts to matter. It's just about how many shots you can make. It's about how accurate you can be. Whether or not you're taking a mid-range shot or free, whatever, you need to be making more shots than you miss. So if you have a high field goal percentage, it's valuable. That's why people who can create in the mid-range get a look from anywhere. That's why KD is so viable in the clutch because he can get a mid-range shot off on anyone, and it's just an efficient look. Steph Curry's creating so many inefficient looks for himself, like from a field goal percentage standpoint, that when it's late in games and he's still taking these step back, sidestep threes, and you notice more when he's making them only 38% of the time because you only get like 2 or 3 of those opportunities, which means he's missing 2 out of 3. And if he's just having an off night, he misses 3 out of 3, and then you're like, well, this guy keeps missing. He can't create the same looks from mid range as a guy like KD can. Like last night when I was watching the game, he looked completely terrible from mid range because every time he's trying to create for himself, he's off balance. He's trying to shoot over the top of somebody. He can't create the easiest looks for himself in those situations, which is why like the only guy who I'd say is really an exception is like Damian Lillard. He seems to be able to make those crazy step back, sidestep threes. But then even him in the playoffs, I mean, it's kind of suspect after the first round. But it's like when you can't create those easy looks for yourself, it's kind of hard to be efficient or accurate when the games are closing because teams are going to be able to take away the easiest looks, and he basically lives off of the difficult ones. So that's why I think you can see how much he misses, and it's more noticeable, more glaring.
Okay.
But wouldn't that would hurt his clutch gene though?
Oh yeah, I'm not arguing it doesn't hurt. I'm just explaining why I think that's the case. Because, for example, like Ray Allen, yeah, you trust him to take a last shot. But when we think about Ray Allen for the most part, I know you have the Seattle and the Bucks days, but when you think about Ray Allen for the most part, those last minute shots, they're created for him. He's not creating for himself. He's not taking these crazy outlandish shots or being double teamed or having to create from 30 feet top of the key off a pick and roll, etc. So the looks he's getting naturally are easier. So yes, I think he is more likely to make a shot if there's 5 seconds left. I think that's more likely, but I also think if he had to create for himself from free, he'd also have similar struggles. That's just me.
Okay.
Why do people put words in people's mouth? I see a chat from Deco saying, but to say he has no moments of straight cap.
He literally
I
said, "I'm not
he
saying that."
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
he
I'm
literally
not,
said he's
bro.
not saying that, bro. All he said is just when it comes to Stephen Curry, it's like especially late in games, we haven't
He'll
seen
live
enough
with it.
moments. You're gonna live with him shooting. We haven't seen enough moments of him stepping up to that plate, and that's just something about people's game. We just have to be real with. What happens? You got Steph Curry fanboys or just people just don't like the truth, bro. When people speak the truth, they get sensitive about it. So, I Wes, I'm glad you brought the truth today, bro. I really do
No problem,
appreciate you,
bro.
brother.
I was
Hey,
watching that game with extreme disappointment. He got a turnover in the fourth quarter in the backcourt. I was like, yeah, this guy just don't want to be here at this point. Like he's just trying to.
Exactly.
He was playing for Minnesota at that point. I was like, okay.
Exactly, bro. Not it, bro.
that's
Similar things
crazy.
happened against Boston as well. A couple weeks ago, fourth quarter and overtime, he sold
Exactly.
against Brooklyn. He sold. I was saying it. I
Exactly,
was
bro.
saying it in Discord. The last few weeks, Steph Curry ain't been closing games. It's been real bad ever since he came back from the injury. But
They don't want
We
to
shall
listen to
see.
you, Mars. They don't want to listen.
We shall see. Hey, appreciate you for pulling up, bro. We gonna get some other guys up here, but thank you for
No
the fire
problem, bro.
takes, bro.
Appreciate y'all. All right, y'all.
Peace. Oh shit. I mean, oh shoot. Nah, you good. That's so. Let me read some super chats
Yeah,
before you go at it. So
for
Steph
sure.
ain't hit that shot against OKC. Steph didn't close out the Celtics game 4 from Deco. That's the same person I addressed. I'm not gonna say the same thing. Leave Diggy, buddy, saying everything that I said at Leaf 4788. I believe that's his YouTube, so go check that out.
I
Big
think he
Ox
wants the link.
Bob. He said what?
I think he wants the link.
Oh, he wants to. I mean, the link's in the chat. Join up, Leaf. No way y'all value game winners like this from Big Ox Bob. It's just about being clutch, man. That
I
clutch
do
game
think
for
there's
Curry.
more to being clutch than just game winners, but
I think so
um,
too, but when it comes to even big shots down the stretch, it's like Curry, bro. It's like when I be watching games, it's like I don't see it enough from you, bro. Like I'm not that scared from you. I've seen Dame go crazy, crazy in the clutch, and it's like I'm more afraid of Dame than Stephen Curry in the clutch. 100%. Another super chat. I can't say your name, bro. I'm not gonna try. I'm sorry. Mars be a man, but senile ticket. Put senile ticket in his place. Oh,
I'm not a man, so why would I be something I'm not?
oh Jesus Christ, Mars! Don't say that. Y'all been going at it. Desto, what's up, bro? What you got to say today?
Hey, yeah, what's up, y'all? I do want to. I kind of wonder though, like, why do like older generations kind of fight evolution? Because like, I mean, that's just a part of how like humans go, and I think basketball just follows suit. Like, the people from back then, from the '70s, the '80s, '90s, they like paved the way for how the game is now. So I don't see why like it's so why they fight so hard on the fact that players today are just like better. You know, I mean, I know there are outliers and there's players who games will stand the test of time, especially like MJ. But like the distance these people can shoot from, the level of
Degree of
ball handle,
difficulty.
the
Yeah.
athleticism, like that just come with being a human. In like 10 years, these players gonna be better than the ones we watching now. So, and that's why for me personally, like I compare based on eras, where rather than comparing guys from now than the guys to the '90s, because I don't think it's realistic. It's different rules, it's different levels of competition. It's just so many factors. So I rank based off like eras because it's like, I mean, that's just how the game is. It
People rank
evolves. So.
people rank based off errors mainly because they know that the product of today is better than the product of back then, which is why they do it like that, in my opinion. And they do take into account the rules in play. I do think the reasoning on why the old heads do get offended because there's a lot of kids out there that they be being disrespectful as hell with it, saying they can't play
Kareem's are
basketball.
frauds. Yeah,
No,
those
no,
people.
no. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. But you talk about like the plumbers and stuff like that. So you gotta put it like this, put it in their perspective. Like you coming up, somebody's crapping on your favorite player, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, saying they played against plumbers and then they're plumbers themselves. It's just by naturality. I mean, just by like human nature, bro. You're just gonna push back on that mainly because you favored those guys. You grew up on those guys, so you're gonna fight back on that and try to
Mhm.
prove these guys wrong off of your personal biases of what you grew up on. And that's why they just take it so personal. I think all the old heads know that the product of today is better than the product of back then. But when you have guys, they're so stuck in their own personal bias towards these guys that it's like when they do hear guys try to disrespect what they grew up on, it just naturally just makes them want to push back on it. That's it.
They like hold on to the nostalgia.
It's not hold on to the nostalgia, but it's like, let's say, have you ever had something? Have you ever had somebody tell you something that was the truth, but in a nasty way that made you still want to argue with them?
No.
I'm logical,
Never.
so no.
So it's like, oh my god. It's like, oh my god. I don't know how to explain this.
I mean,
Let's say if you bad at let's say if you bad at your job, right? Let's say if you bad at your job,
Okay.
and somebody comes up to you like, bro, you really ass at your job, like you're terrible, bro. Even though that you know you ass at your job, but a lot of the times based off the tone in which people are talking to you in, you're gonna push back on it and try to defend it. Even though you know the truth, you're just by natural just by your own offense, you're gonna push back on it.
I mean,
It is what it is.
I can understand that, but if I know I'm bad, then I'm not gonna. I wouldn't push back. But that
Not
that's
a
just
lot of
me.
people.
I understand that.
Not a lot of people are like that. A lot of people do get offended, even though that they do suck at their job. I've seen
Yeah.
numerous times where they get offended when people call them out that they suck at their job.
Yeah, I was just arguing with some people at my job the other day, and I was telling them, and I don't know, they was getting on my case, but I honestly believe this. I think this era has, well, I mean, offense, of course, but I feel like this era has the better defenders, and I can preface that by saying it's harder to play defense in this era. Like it's extremely harder, and I feel like being able to limit somebody to 20 points, like even 25 points, is like you did a great defensive job, because you have to like being able, when you see somebody being able to shoot from 40 feet efficiently, 35 feet, like that is like, that's ridiculous. And I know y'all was arguing the other day on the panel about guarding on the perimeter and the post, and I feel like the perimeter is harder, but protecting the paint is hard. I don't think y'all mentioned that. Like protecting the paint versus guarding the perimeter is harder, because you got to cover guys from you. Everybody really comes to the paint to try to score. That's the most efficient shot in the game. So being an elite paint protector, and especially in today's era, it's hard because everybody can dribble, everybody can shoot, everybody can pass, everybody can drive. So like I know people say, oh, people don't play defense nowadays. Well, it's like extremely harder to play defense nowadays. So the ones that do, like they hats off to you, because it's difficult as hell.
Facts. Mars, what you got to say, bro?
I agree it's harder to play defense today, not just because of the rules, but I was watching the 05 finals like a few hours ago. I think it was maybe game 1. I was watching the 05 finals.
That's Detroit and San Antonio.
Detroit and San Antonio. So the two best defensive teams in the league that year. And then I was watching how well they were both defending. I think the Detroit Pistons scored like 70 points or something. And then I was like, for example, there was a transition play that like really stuck out to me. It was a 3-on-2 for Detroit. They had 3, San Antonio had 2 back. And San Antonio deflected it out of bounds. But I was like, if that happened today, you'd have the 2 people running the wings. They wouldn't be running towards the rim. They'd run to the 3-point line. That's why you can't stop these 3-on-2 anymore, because everyone, instead of running to the paint and clogging up the lanes and making these passes easier to deflect, they would have spread out and gone to the 3-point line. And then the 2 players would have had to make up their mind whether or not they're going to stay in the paint and you give up an open 3, or if they're going to go to the shooters and then leave a wide open lane for a dunk. That doesn't mean that those guys are better defenders. It means their job was made easier by the fact the lack of shooting in the NBA made it so in those situations, everyone's going for a layup. So I'm watching it, I'm like, that would never have worked today. If that was Golden State and you have Steph and Clay running the wings with Draymond down the middle, that's not getting deflected. It's just not. But the spacing allows for those teams to really benefit, because no one's worried about Lindsey Hunter spotting up for 3. So it was like those type of things, they really stood out to me.
Shout out to Lindsey, he could play some defense though.
So yeah, literally the only reason he was on the court. So I was like, that's those are the things that stick out to me when I think about the difference in eras. Like I understand what made defense so valuable at that time, but I can also understand that when people say, oh, no one plays defense today, I'm like, these old teams that you guys love to hype up, and me included, I hype up these great defensive teams. Their defenses wouldn't. It's not like they just have 101 defensive ratings today. They'd also be giving up these points, because the offense is so good. It's borderline impossible to get as many stops as you were back then. That's just something that should just be logical.
Agree. Especially like that fast break you described. I'd probably rather give up the Draymond layup than a Stephen Clay three. Cause like shoot,
Exactly. It's like pick your poison at that point. Like back then, it was just everyone's going for a layup. All you got to do is protect the paint. You got Ben Wallace, Tim Duncan, Rasheed Wallace, etc. Like
Mhm.
it's easier to be a great defensive team at that time. And I'm not taking anything away from them because they
Yeah.
were some of the greatest defensive teams. But in today's game, do I think they'd be the best defensive teams? Maybe. Do I think they'd be all-time great? Maybe. But would their defensive ratings look the same?
No,
Absolutely not. That's just how the
absolutely
game
not.
is.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard, very hard to compare. Like I remember people was like getting on Rudy Gobert the other year, but oh he can't switch out on perimeter, he can't do this, he can't do that. Well, and they say he don't deserve his defensive player of the year awards. Well, if you look back at the other, like when Dikembe and not Ben, I was about to say Ben Simmons, Ben Wallace was winning defensive player of the year. He was solely a paint protector. He didn't have to do all this switching. He didn't have to guard like a 5 out. So it's different levels. So you can't just like I'm not a fan of hypotheticals at all. But I know Ben Wallace and Dikembe in this era, they would not have been as effective as they were because of just the spacing that Rudy Gobert has to face in this era. So I feel like it's pointless to compare. I feel like we should just compare based off the era.
Nah, our air is better, man. We could be real with that. Anyway, anyways, I'm gonna get some other guys up here though. Appreciate you for coming up here, bro. Be
Yes, sir.
easy. Let me read some super chats real quick before we get some people on. Uh, we got a I can't say his name. I'm gonna call you A. Hey, bro, you disappoint that man. Mad disrespectful. I think he was talking about the Steph Curry guy.
No, I think he was
J-
talking about me and Ticket, and when I said I'm not a man.
oh, okay. Jason the Kid, Mars. From what years
Say,
would you say the Spurs was a dynasty? And Iverson over Harden, the most choking player ever.
the Spurs for me were a dynasty from '03 to '07. So they won in '03. They then lost in '04, won in '05, lost in '06, won in '07. If that was like the most dynastic years, I'd say that. If you wanted to throw 99 in there, maybe, but it's hard to have a dynasty when there's a three-peat in between your run. So I'd say '03 to '07 is when the Spurs were like at their peak. But if you wanted to say they were a dynasty for 15 years from '99 to 2014, and they just had dips and etc., like Golden State from 2015 to 22, how they had the 2 year dip, I guess. But if I had to pick any set of years, it would be the three championships from '03 to '07. And no, James Harden's better than AI.
Okay. Dub is this guy hates Ticket. Dub is describing Ticket TV right now. Dub, real quick, from G Man, drop your top 5 pure scores of all time. I'll have Kobe, MJ, KD, Kyrie, and then in the fifth spot, I'm stuck between like we're talking about pure
T-Mac.
scores. Yeah, I'm thinking about T Mac and Melo. I'm stuck between T
I
Mac
got
and
both
Melo.
of them over Kyrie. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, for pure
Yeah.
scores,
I agree.
Mhm.
both of them over Kyrie. I'm not
Easily.
mad
No,
at it.
I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
easily, but yeah, I got them both over Kyrie.
I'm not mad at that, but I'll do 6. I'll have Melo T Mac right there.
No love for Elgin Baylor. Jerry
No,
West.
no, not at all, not at all. That's the youngest think they are better and smarter than everybody before them. I think old heads dislike the arrogance more than anything. I was that way once. I understand now that I have 2 sons from Big Ox Bob. We'll have to do that. Go follow another super chat from Lewis down. Lewis is down. Go follow Mars Talk Sports for Black History Month. Mars
Oh,
started up a YouTube channel. Mars, drop that
yes.
YouTube link. Drop that YouTube link in the chat, bro, for everybody to go follow you at, bro.
Oh, okay.
Give your boy some support. Yo, what's good with you, Jaden? How you feeling today? Thank you for letting us get through the super chats, man.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? I just had a quick question. I just wanted to know if y'all think that when it's all said and done, Giannis is going to be the greatest international player of all time.
Nope.
Nah.
That's
No?
Hakeem. That's Hakeem, and it's gonna stay
Hakeem.
that way.
Yeah, I don't know how he could supersede Hakeem Olajuwon and just what he brought to the game. I think the run that Hakeem had in both the times he went to the chip and won was more impressive than what Giannis did in 2021. The defense that Hakeem Olajuwon provides is way better than the defense Giannis provides as well. Scoring and like playmaking, maybe you have an argument for Giannis, but I just don't see him ever being better than Hakeem Olajuwon in my opinion.
Yeah, Hakeem's just the better player to me. Better defensively, better scorer, better player of translation, more impactful. The longevity, I still think, is going to favor Hakeem in the long run, because I don't know how much Giannis is going to sustain this without an improvement to his outside shot or changing his game. But that might be dependent on Coach Bud. So for me, as Hakeem, I think Giannis can be number 2. I think he'll pass Dirk in a few years.
Yeah.
Who else am I thinking of? Who
I
else
think he
am I
already
missing?
passed Dirk.
Peak for peak, yeah, I'd say. But career totality.
Ah,
no.
okay, I got you.
Who else is
Jokic's going to be in there
international
too.
Jokic will be in there too. There's one
Jokic,
more. I think
Jokic is
we're
entirely
missing.
dependent on his defense. If Jokic just is still a defensive liability in the playoffs, he's gonna go down as someone who's people are gonna say he underachieved. But that's all. That just depends. Do people consider? Do people consider Patrick Ewing an international player?
I don't know. I don't think they do.
Because
think
Where's
that they
Ewing
do.
from?
he was born in Jamaica.
Hmm. I
So-
don't
Shit,
think
I didn't
they
even know that.
do. Because he played. No, wait. Patrick Ewing, did he ever play in Team USA or no? I don't think about it. Because he played for
Google.
Team U. If he played for Team USA, then no.
I just remember him
Pat-
at Georgetown.
Yeah, he played in Georgetown. Chat, help us out. Real quick.
Yes,
Patrick,
he did. Yes, he did. Yes,
he
he
did
did.
play for Team USA. Yeah, so yeah, you gotta.
So the same reason Tim Duncan's not an international player.
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, I think Giannis can go down as number 2. Hakeem will most likely be number 1. I'm not gonna rule it out, but I think Hakeem will most likely be number 1. Then right now you got, for me, it'll be Hakeem right now is 1, Dirk is number 2, number 3 is Giannis, and then number 4, I don't know, like Manu Ginobili or something. I don't know, but I think
Manu Ginobili,
I can't think of the top of my head. I don't know. So if you say someone else who's better,
Steve Nash.
Steve Nash, yes. I forget Canadians count as international players.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think he'll go down as number 2. He could be number 1, but number 2 is where I'd say I'm certain.
Do you guys think that Luka Doncic will ever surpass any of those guys?
He could surpass Giannis.
Yeah, I honestly do.
Y'all don't
I
think he could
honestly do.
surpass Hakeem?
Luka.
I got Hakeem borderline top 5. It's gonna be tough to surpass Hakeem. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I got him 4.
Because Hakeem brings it on both ends, on both sides of the ball. Luka's just one side of the ball. But
So my question to you
Luka
guys,
on that one side of the ball is
my
fault.
secondary
Go
question to you guys then is, do you guys think there'll ever be a point in time where like just a one-sided player will ever be a top 5 player in NBA history? Because a lot of people's general consensus top 5 is like LeBron,
Kareem,
MJ,
Kobe, I guess.
Kobe. Okay,
People have
Kobe.
Magic. People have Magic in their top 5. Magic's one-sided.
Magic does. Yep, Magic.
I've heard
does.
Magic more than I've heard Kobe.
Yeah, Magic's like Magic. See, the thing is, yeah, not to disrespect old heads again, but they're very big on this two-way player thing. Especially like MJ's a better defender than LeBron. Kobe's a better defender than LeBron. That's the last time I'm talking about LeBron. But then it's Magic Johnson, and all of a sudden the defense just doesn't matter, or they'll try and fool the masses into thinking Magic Johnson was anything less than at best average. They tried to fool you into thinking Magic Johnson was a good defender. He wasn't. Like nothing would point to Magic Johnson being a good defender, but they try and trick you and mind bend things into Magic Johnson played the 5 in the 1980 finals. Like, come on, man. Like Magic Johnson wasn't a good defender. We can all admit that. Just admit that you're either being biased or you're being inconsistent. Either one is fine. Just admit one of them, because
It's both.
you trying to trick us into saying Magic Johnson wasn't a mid defender is like, come on.
I think it's both though. I think it's on top of being biased and having nostalgia and being inconsistent, because a lot of old heads, they don't apply the same energy to everybody, bro, and it's really upsetting, bro. Magic Johnson, in my opinion, I do reward defenders. Like everybody in my top 5 has a good ability to play defense as well, and the guys who's really one-sided is kind of on the lower end of my top 10 list, mainly because it's like I do reward being a two-way threat. I think that greatly impacts the game, but a lot of old heads for Magic Johnson would just sit here and think that shit doesn't matter, and it's like it's weird to me.
Wait, so Doug,
especially
you said your
considering
top
Larry
5.
Bird was a better defender, but it's fine.
Larry Bird was a better defender too. What you about to say, Jaden?
You said your top 5 had like the first 5 is like two-way players, and then
The
that
only
bottom
guy-
half is like
Yeah, the only guy that's maybe not considered two-way, but I still think he did bring a lot of good things defensively. Is Shaq. But then after Shaq, I
Oh,
have
okay.
Tim Duncan and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah,
You had Tim
it
Duncan
depends.
at you had Tim Duncan at 6.
Yeah, I have Tim Duncan at 6.
I
Yeah.
did not know that.
I
Damn.
like Tim Duncan. Like I
Yeah, I
just
didn't know that.
yeah, I just don't like it when y'all say he's better than Kobe. That's all. That's
Facts.
all.
Tim Duncan's not better than Kobe.
I don't think he's better than Kobe at all. But yo, Jaden, appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna get some other guys up here, bro.
Hey, I
Appreciate
appreciate it,
the
man.
time.
Thank you so much.
You be easy, brother.
You too,
I
man.
did not know you had Tim Duncan that high.
I do. He was always top 6, top 7. He fluctuates between him and Kareem. Uh, Hey, Dezo, let me read off these super chats real quick and then we could get into it. Alex Martin, offensive bags are better now than they were back then, making older guys look like they were straps, but not many people had a bag.
I mean, if you want to get like real crazy, just look at what Grant Hill was doing to the Chicago Bulls team. So I'm just saying, like, he was probably one of the first like 6, 7 plus dudes who was really like quick, kind of crossover, all of those things, and he was giving the Bulls nightmares. Penny Hardaway as well was kind of giving the Bulls nightmares as well. So I'm not about to say that that's why these teams were so great defensively, but some of those taller wings, when they did start to come along, these all-time great defenders did start to look kind of suspect. But
I feel
that's
you
what I'm
on
saying.
that. I feel
That's
you on
what I'm
that.
saying.
Who else? Who said that? Gilbert Arenas said that. Gilbert
Oh
Arenas be
yeah,
providing a lot.
Gilbert Arenas did say that. But yeah, just go watch those Detroit teams play the Bulls. Just like Grant Hill was giving them problems.
Grant Hills was giving him problems. G-Man, does pure score just mean jump shooter? Um, when you say pure score, I'm thinking like bag talk. I'm not even gonna hold you. I can think about bag, your post game, your dribble moves, your shooting touch, things like that. Your finishing. I include all of that into one. We
What
talk
does
about
what
pure
does what does
score.
Paul George have to do to get into those conversations?
Paul George is dope, but I think with him is like I don't. Paul George is nice. I think he deserves some creds. He's like an underrated guy.
Paul George is weird because the eye test tells you he's one of the best scorers in the league, and
Hmm.
then you look at how much he's scoring and how efficiently he's scoring. You're like, it just doesn't match up. Like Paul George has had one like crazy elite like high volume scoring season. Everything else is like 23 points a game, and then the efficiency always varies from like slightly positive to maybe slightly below, and then in the playoffs is similar. It's like this guy scores so like well from everywhere, but it never seems to equate to like
It's not consistent.
Kawhi Leonard numbers. I'm like, why is that? It's Paul George is a weird one.
Yeah, I think he lacks a lot of consistency, which is why not a lot of people think of him so highly. Melo, he consistently gave buckets. T Mac consistently gave buckets. Kyrie and all these guys consistently gave buckets. But PG is like there's like some nights he's on and then some nights he's off. I think it could be a mental lapse in my opinion. Sometimes that could be a mental thing where it's like that's just his mentality. It is what it is. One more super chat. Mars, I'm so disappointed in you, man. Your loving father ticket from Skip. All right, bro. What's good, Dezo? What you got to say today, my guy?
Yo, man. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. Uh, Actually, Paul George was my favorite player back in 2013 when he was going up against LeBron in those Eastern Conference Finals runs. Man, those great times. First and foremost, though, I just want to say, Dub. You know, I've watched your progression on the show. You know, since you were like back in 2021, and you were making all these hot takes about and y'all were doing like drafts and all that.
Mhm.
And to see your progression from then all the way to now is pretty great. But
Damn.
it's just one thing, man. It's like this whole disrespecting old heads thing, man. It's like growing up, you know, I was always taught to respect my elders, and I know what y'all are gonna say, like respect is earned, not given. But my thing is it's just I watch a lot of, you know, old head media and all that.
Yeah.
And I don't I don't think to myself like, are these guys trying to manipulate me to try and like say these guys are greater than what they are? It's just, to me, it just comes off as they just want to give their takes on the basketball that they've seen. And I just take in the information like that, you know. I don't try to like be like, oh yeah, y'all lying, you know, y'all ain't shit. Y'all wasn't, those guys are actually overrated. Like I just don't ever take it like that, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um
My whole
I
thing
mean
is, Oh,
Okay,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead, go ahead. Denzel. I want you to finish.
I mean, me personally, me and my friends, they always joke about how like I'm like the old head, young dude in the in the
I
group.
get those
We can
same.
tell. We can tell. We can
I
tell.
get. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I get those
Yeah,
same jokes. I get those same jokes too.
Yeah,
I get you.
because
I feel you.
I always tell them how great Michael Jordan was,
Mhm.
and they always tell me how great LeBron is, and I'm like, but Michael Jordan's peak, at Michael Jordan's peak, I just think he was a better overall player.
I feel you. I feel you. I guess the whole old media thing is. I'll be honest. It probably kind of stemmed from me and Fluent's rivalry. Um, but then other than that, it's just a lot of because it's just hearing just a lot of lies that's told from the old media nostalgia. It's something I hate. I hate hearing. I don't like people who lie, right? I don't. It's a difference between lying and saying the wrong thing when you didn't even know. Like sometimes that happens to me. I'll say something wrong that I didn't know, but a lot of these guys just be straight, dead ass lying about who these players are. And in my head is like, if you've seen this growing up, you've seen these players for who they are. Why are you lying about these guys? Magic Johnson is a good one. It's a lie. He wasn't a good
But
defender.
did Magic not play defense, or was he just like not?
He was average
It,
at best.
I feel
They
like because somebody said that Magic led the league in steals, like two
and
years.
James Harden and Curry were high steal
But
guys, and
Kurt,
nobody looks at them as
Allen
defenders.
Iverson has led the league in
Allen
steals.
Iverson led the league in steals too. I didn't think he
but
was a good
I don't think
defender.
you would
He
consider.
was.
But would you consider Allen Iverson like a bad
Yes,
defender?
yes, yes,
Really?
I would
yes.
consider him a bad defender. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie. When you're a guy who can consistently get picked apart and keyed in on, like for your liability on defense, I don't consider you a good defender. Allen Iverson and Stephen Curry did fall in that category. You can
Hmm.
say they were you can talk about their off ball kind of made them average, but they were still bad in my head. And Magic Johnson fell under that category as well. He's under the same clause. He's a guy where yes, he was good off ball defender. He tried to play his role and try not to mess up whatever they had going on, but teams would try to pick him apart, which is
I feel
why
like
they
it's
had
hard to be a great defender as a point guard. Because
CP3 was.
When you're 6'9", it should be a lot easier. But
It should be.
yeah, he can even guard.
but then again, he's Magic Johnson was slow footed. He couldn't stay in
Yeah,
front of those smaller guards. You know what I'm
and
saying?
And that
what can I do about that? That's just he wasn't that good. He had the limitations,
yeah.
and they were limiting him, and he ended up ultimately being. He was a solid rebounder. When early 80s mainly, when like the Lakers wanted to play, like they'll have like a half court trap or they'll have a full court trap. Magic Johnson would like play behind the play and like try and pick up like any like low full court
Mishaps.
passes, etc. Like he'll just like try and plug up the gaps. That's where like a lot of his steals came from. Like that was okay. But then once they started slowing down the pace or even just in half court sets, he just wasn't that good. He had to guard wings because he was too slow to guard guards. But then he gave up strength and size advantages in the post. So then he had to ultimately try and guard like he ended up ultimately either guarding like slow wings or like stretch fours who like stretched out to like 15 feet at a time. Like that was his role. Like I'm not saying anything is wrong with that being your role, but that was his role. And even then he just wasn't great. Like his awareness or his motor, one of them wasn't that great. He like would just end up letting a few people like cut back door, etc. So there's just if you watch Magic Johnson, I'm not blaming the old heads for not like recalling all of this stuff because most of them watch these games once. When did Magic Johnson play? 43 years ago now. 43 years ago. They watched these games once. They were watching it as
43
fans.
is crazy.
They were watching it as fans, which is completely fine. You're watching the game as a fan. They were probably like 10 years old at best, watching these games as fans, and then you expect me to be like believe that you can analyze Magic Johnson's defense to a good degree. No, you can't. You just can't. You're not going to remember the nuances of defense from games you watched once 40 years ago. You're just not going to do that. I can't remember the nuances of defense from games Steph Curry played 7 years ago. I'd have to go back and watch 2015 Steph Curry to get a gauge on his defense. That's just stuff you have to do. Like when I watch games, when I watch them the first time, I'm watching them as a fan. If I'm going to break down a player, I'm not going to just be like, I remember watching this game one time. Like, no, that's dumb. That's just ridiculous. You have to watch these games and know what you're looking for and study these players to have a full gauge on them. They're not doing that, but then they would expect me to be like, well, you watch them play, so you know more. No, you watch them play once 35 years ago and expect me to just take your word as law. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to watch them myself with the games that we have available on the internet, which is a great resource, by the way. You can find so many games on the internet, especially from like the 1990s onwards, even the 80s, but the 70s are kind of tough. You can find so many of these games where you can do your own research. You don't have to listen to these guys try and tell you stuff, because most of it, I'm not going to say they're lying. I think they're just misremembering or they just value things differently. But if you watch them yourself, you can form your own opinion.
Another thing that I wanted to bring up, just one last thing. I think another thing that gets under like older guys' skin when y'all, talk about past generation players is when y'all say like this such and such wouldn't be able to, like how you said Wilt would just be like, I don't even know who you compare him to.
Clint Capella. He said Clint Capella.
Yeah,
Oh, me? I said that?
Yeah, you said Clint Capella.
I said that?
Capella,
Yeah, he
yes.
might be.
But-
He might be.
my thing with that is like, I give it to you. Like I the average player today is definitely better than the average player back then. But I still believe like the superstars of any era can be at least decent players in any era. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Clint
Like,
Capella's decent.
I feel like Wilt, he would definitely not, he definitely wouldn't average 50, but he would, I feel like if you drop Wilt today, he would still be able to average probably like 25, 24.
With the game you've seen of Wilt, not
I've
assuming evolution, with the game you've seen of Wilt, you think that's 25 points a game?
I think Wilt he still had post moves, he still had a decent post game.
Yeah, he had infant post moves, like the most basic array of post moves we've seen.
That's just the infant stages of the game, though.
Exactly, and now you're bringing that infant stage to grown stage and expecting infancy to work.
The thing is, he didn't just rely on his post moves either, though. He was the most athletic player in the league at that point,
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if I combined that with him being the most athletic, I think he would be able to, do some pick and rolls, catch some lobs, throw some post moves in there. I think that's at least, because like Jokic isn't. He's
not an athlete.
Yeah, he's not the greatest athlete in the world, but he gets by on his IQ, and I think Wilt's, knowledge of the game at that point, like he's not.
Will Chamberlain saw about 6 pick and rolls a year. Will Chamberlain saw about 6 pick and rolls a year every time he played the Kings. That was about it.
But we're doing this a lot. That's why, like, in this day and age, with him running the floor, I think he would be phenomenal in transition. Phenomenal.
Oh,
but,
yeah, I agree. Especially if those athletic things are true.
Yeah, no, I've seen him run.
I've seen him run. He looks like
crazy.
a blur.
Yeah, he's crazy. So in transition, I think he would be crazy, phenomenal. But then outside of the transition, I'm like, I don't know.
Will Chamberlain in the half court is in the dunker spot, catching lobs from other people. That's what he's there.
Like he's not chilling. He's not chilling in the. Yeah, he's not chilling in the paint the way he was doing in the 60s on the defense and offensive side of things. It's like, and even then, for as athletic and strong that he wasn't playing like as like a dominance, like a Shaq. Like he relied on the finesse game. Like that's what he was doing. So it's like his athleticism mainly came from when he was sprinting in transition. That dude was crazy. I would say that he was wild.
Yeah.
And defensively, he ain't seen half the schemes that teams got now.
For sure.
You think he's gonna be able to like understand what Golden State are doing with Steph Curry off the ball?
I mean, but who in the league now understands what Steph
at least you got those people like they could at least like switch, or they can understand rotations. Like the 60s, the offenses for the most part was a big man catches the ball at the elbow, a bunch of people run around him. If someone gets open, throw a little backdoor pass. If they don't get open, little handoff. You might set a screen. Maybe you might set a screen. And then like that's for most of the teams. Then you got like the Cincinnati Royals where they had Oscar Robertson basically being like a first generation Chris Paul type thing where he's just running the offense, running pick and roll. But no other teams are really doing that. So he was seeing the most basic offenses. So the defensive coverages he's gonna see, like, you think he's gonna know how to hedge a screen? No, he's just not. Like if you assume he grew up in this era, this is why I don't like these hypotheticals. If you assume he grew up in this era and was just this athletic, and then he grew up and he understood everything, that's fine. If you just try teleport, you create teleportation, 1962 Wilt, and you just teleport him into a 2022 NBA game, he's going to be clueless. He's not going to know what's happening.
He's gonna have a hard time for sure.
The goaltend rule didn't even exist. He's gonna be out here just blocking shots as they're coming down to the rim, being confused why he's getting goaltend calls. He's not gonna know. That's the issue I have. Like, if you want to assume they grew up in this era and he grew up with a 3-point line, like, fine. That's why I don't like playing this hypothetical game. But if you just try to teleport them, it's gonna look bad for him.
Yeah, I don't think the whole teleportation thing works either. Because I don't think him growing up in this era would be like, I don't think he obviously wouldn't develop a 3-point shot just because they invented a 3-point shot. But I do think he would learn from the past generations before. You know?
Coming from a guy where when I first learned about Will Chamberlain, I looked him up, seen what he did. I called him the GOAT. Because I seen he scored 100 points per game. I seen he averaged 50 and 20. And when I was young, this was like back when I was like in middle school or high school. I'm looking at it and I'm like, bro, Michael Jordan wasn't doing this. Nobody was doing this. I said, here. How is this guy not the greatest player of all time? I said, how is he not the greatest player? And then I started watching him, looking into it, and I'm like, oh nah, that's why he's not the greatest player of all time. This is a lot of cap. It's a lot of cap going on here. I'm not gonna hold you.
Yeah, but when I saw that he scored 100. And back when I was growing up, I was like, and the next person was Kobe with 81. I was like, that's a 20-point difference. Like, this guy made a 20-point difference on the next.
I said, what was a better scorer than Kobe? I literally said that, bro. Until I started watching.
I appreciate y'all guys having me on, though, man.
No problem, bro. You be easy, all right, my guy?
All right, man.
Peace.
Some people still believe Wilt Chamberlain's like the best scorer ever, but
I don't know how, bro. It's not it. Hold on, give me 1 second, my guy. Super chat from G-Man. Which player's choice panelist is the best hooper? I think that's between Shaq and Dell.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah, it's between those two. Leovold with the $5 super chat. That's why Fluent has VHS tapes. Old heads think they study all these games live. They didn't. Knowledge is gained by studying. Experience is gained live.
That's fair.
Yeah.
If Will grew up in this era, he'd get me.
Oh damn. He'd get me too. So like, you know how all the women started coming forward about some accusations when it was like a big deal. The Me Too movement, and Wilt Chamberlain had those 20,000 bodies. So.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, how are you doing, bro?
Hey man, how you doing?
Let's not get into that bag.
Facts. Hey man, I appreciate y'all for having me on the show. You know what I'm saying? I definitely, man, I just want to go off of that transporting players to different eras. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel y'all when y'all say these things about the old heads, because of course, you know what I'm saying, they grew up in the era they grew up in. But you also wouldn't be able to do it in reverse. Like, say if you threw LeBron in Michael's era, you know what I'm saying? That means LeBron would never got to learn from Michael. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really do that. You know what I'm saying? You would have to assume, hey, if I put an old head in this era, as good as he was in the era with his rules, if he grew up learning this era, learning these new rules, how good would he be then? You know what I'm saying? Because if they were good back then, they're going to be good now because of the evolution of the game. You know what I'm saying? Especially when back then they had to follow the rules. They were calling those travels. They were calling those carries. There was no gather step. So imagine if those old heads was allowed to do the things that these new guys would be able to do. You really think they wouldn't be as good as them? You know what I'm saying?
No.
That's kind of a bad argument because you can't do it in reverse. Because
this is why the hypothetical is just weird to me. I don't like these hypotheticals because you end up like, I can't predict what if Wilt Chamberlain was born in 1998. I can't do that. That's why I don't like doing the what would they look like? Like, what would Steph Curry look like in the 60s? Or he looked like he was doing witchcraft. No, I don't like doing any of this. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, if you want to look at it just basic from how do the players look today? How do they look in the 60s? In the 60s, would it work today? No. Like, that's about as far as like, I guess, like, you can't teleportation doesn't exist. So no matter what we do, it's hypothetical. And right. The more you try to rationalize these hypotheticals, the more rabbit holes you go down. Like, what am I meant to do predicting what if Wilt Chamberlain had today's training, had today's shoes, had today's travel, had today's rules? Like, I'm just going down so many rabbit holes trying to create one player that will never exist. It's like, why can't I just call him trash and move on? Like, it's just easier.
Yeah, and on top of that, like even if the guys were able to have the rules they have today, I highly doubt that they'll be able to go through those progressions so drastically. I would say, like, let's say if the 70s had the rules of the 2020s, right? The guys aren't just going to take a dramatic increase in 10 years and to develop in the way in which they are today. Maybe in like 20, maybe in the next 15 to 20 years, but my whole point is just because the rules, if we just replace the rules, I highly doubt that the 70s guys or the 80s guys would just develop that fast just because of those rules in play.
But in the 70s and the 80s, they had the Harlem Globetrotters. And if you watch those old videos, they were doing a lot of the ball handling stuff that you would see today. It wasn't that far-fetched. It just wasn't legal. So you
And
can't
then,
really say that.
but
It
what happened?
existed.
But what
It just
happened
didn't
when
exist in
those?
the professional
How long?
ranks.
How long did it take? When did those rules? When did those rules for the ball handling and everything? When did those rules get out of league? Because I've been looking for that. I haven't figured out.
See, the thing is,
So
the rules technically haven't changed.
it's how
Like,
they
if
call
you,
them. You know,
yeah.
like it used to be a carry. It used to be a carry when your hand was 90 degrees on the side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They used to call that as a carry. You know what I'm saying? On AI. Because AI, he didn't really go under the ball too much. He would go 90 degrees and they would still call that a carry on him. But now, today's game, you can kind of go a little 65 degrees here, you know what I'm saying? And things like that. You know what I'm
So
saying? You have
that's
to
AI.
understand
That's AI,
playing.
right? So in the 80s, right? Because what are we
You
talking
couldn't do
about?
that.
No, even in the eight, like they started stretching because like if you go through time, like there's always a player who like stretches the limits. So it started off with like Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor was like one of the first people who started doing a crossover. Credit to him.
Right.
And then in the 70s, you got guys like Pistol Pete who started trying to combo moves together, etc. And like as time goes on, the refs, the rules haven't changed. Like nothing in the rules have stated how the angle of you can hold the ball. Nothing really changed. So you go from Bob Cousy, where it was everything on top of the ball, and everything on the side got called a carry. And then Elgin Baylor came along, and they started like maybe you could cross over from left to right, maybe. And then the 70s came, and then maybe you can combine these moves together, maybe. And then in the 80s, like Isaiah Thomas came along, and then suddenly the ball starts going on the side, the hand starts going on the side of the ball a little bit more. And then the 90s come, and then you're starting to slowly start to look like you're discontinuing your dribble. You're holding the ball, hands on the sides of the ball more religiously now. Then the 2000s come, and then you're starting to see more modern iterations of dribbling. And then today we got this foolishness. So nothing is written in the rules of the NBA to where these things have changed. But enough players are doing it now to where if they called it every time, the game would just not play it.
Wait,
it became legal by no one calling it anymore.
Basically, what you're telling me is because the players were developing, that's because the rules were changing. It's not because they were changing the rules.
I said
So, no. That's what Mars is saying by what he's going through. He's saying more and more guys was dribbling in this certain way because they were learning from the guys in the past. So then they changed the rules because of that. So that's actually helps my point because that means the rules were changing because of the development of the players, not because the rules were affecting the development of the players.
Well, here's my thing though. I'm saying that type of ball handling existed. Just because the players weren't doing it in the NBA doesn't mean it didn't exist. You're ignoring that part. You understand what I'm saying? They were doing it on the playgrounds. They were doing it on the streets. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather, he's from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Like they were doing that stuff back then. You know what I'm saying? I have people I can talk to who can say, yeah, I've seen these moves before. It's just that more people wasn't trying to do it in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? Because that wasn't what they grew up on. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't what they were taught in college basketball. They were hard not on the basketball back then. Even back then, you couldn't do a two-step layup. You know what I'm saying? When they taught layups, it was a one-step push. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you know what I'm saying, learn the history of the game of basketball and how it developed, and then also how it developed on the playgrounds, because the playground style is what got into the NBA and made it more popular. You know what I'm saying? Back then, they didn't want to see that playground style. And honestly, it had a lot to do also with a little bit of racism also. You know what I'm saying? You also have to factor that in. Basketball is the only sport where the OS is discredited, but we don't talk about all the variables that go into it. You understand what I'm saying? Back then, a lot of those black kids, they didn't have the grades. They didn't have, you know what I'm saying, the resources or anything like that to even get to that point. They were on the playgrounds doing those moves that we see people doing today. So you can't say that. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you know what I'm saying, factor in the history behind it. You
No,
know what I'm saying?
I
You can't
feel
just
you.
totally discredit it. What
I
happened on
feel
the
you. I
ground?
feel you on the history behind it. But what your point was the rules and changing. The Mars just said the rules haven't been changing. That just more and more people was doing it. So then the players were developing and doing it. So then they stopped calling it. That's not
And
the
the
rules
league
changing.
allowed it
So
as
if you want to make a point, that yes, if the league is allowing it, then you have a point there. But there were no rule changes that affected those guys developing in the way they did. It's just more and more people were doing it. Because when I look at the 80s and the 90s, a lot of these guys had the freedom, of dribbling besides the carry like Allen Iverson, but had the freedom of having dribble variations and getting into their spots. But not a lot of them was doing it, especially in the extent of the 2000s and 2010s. Why is that? Well, maybe it's because not a lot of players had that ability.
that's not true, bro. That's
That's
not
just my
true.
opinion. That's just my opinion.
That's not true, bro. They was doing stuff in the playgrounds. It's just that they weren't going to do. If a coach, if back then, if a coach was like, "Don't do that move," they're not going to do that move, bro. Like, are you sure? Like, you?
No,
Come on,
I
bro.
agree with you.
The
I
game
agree
was
with you
more
on that.
strict back then, bro. Come on, bro. You can't be doing that. You're totally discrediting. You saying they can't do that. Then what was Dr. J and them doing at the Rucker? Well, you know what I'm saying? Do you watch these documentaries? Do you watch this footage where they were actually doing these type of dribble moves that was not legal? And you know what I'm saying? This footage exists. So you can't just say they weren't able to do it. You can't just dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? When this footage exists. That doesn't make any sense, Doug.
No. I feel what you're saying when them allowing it, but at the end of the day, what they did on the court is what they did on the court. I can't take away from that. It is what it is. So it's just hard for me. All I'm saying is just hard for me to sit here and just believe that if, let's say, if they allowed it, that gap would just. My whole thing is if they just sit here and allowed all of that, I find it hard to believe that they'll just beat the players like today. I just find it hard to believe that if they just allowed it. That one thing that you're saying,
You would see it a
yeah,
lot
we're allowed to
earlier.
do that.
You would see it a lot earlier.
And that's actually the point I opened up with. I opened up with that point. I said,
and that also goes to the point where like you can't discredit the old head players against new head players. Oh, old head players couldn't do this, can't do that. Sometimes you never know. You know what I'm saying? It's too many variables. So you can't just outright say, you know what I'm saying? I'm not outright saying that old head basketball is better than new head basketball, but the way that y'all be pushing the narrative, y'all push the narrative like this new basketball, today's basketball is so much better than old head basketball. I don't think the gap is really that far off. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you go into all the variables. You know what I'm saying? The agenda that y'all pushing is kind of nasty. You know what I'm saying? You got to, you know what I'm saying, be honest. You know what I'm saying? You can't push these biases without trying to take in all the variables. You have to look at it from an unbiased point of view.
Yeah,
we grew up in this era. We're blessed to see these great players, but we
100%.
have to take the footage and we have to take all the understanding that we have from the old heads and understand what's going on, because what y'all doing is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It's
but we could have an understanding of the game. I understand everything that you're saying, but at the end of the day, what's better is better, and this is better. It is what it is, regardless of the rules and what was in play. What we seeing today is just better than what we seen back then, and that's just a fact. It is what it is. Now, what I actually opened up with you, I actually opened up with saying that if they did allow the rules in the 70s, I said I don't think they would just immediately just be developed that to the players like today. But I did say that it'll probably take maybe 15, 20 years, that it would be sooner. So I already agree with you in that point. My whole point of the argument is just to sit here and say that just because if the rules or what is allowed changes, that all of these players automatically would sit here and be as skilled as players today. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all.
Well, that's, you know what I'm saying? You're definitely entitled to your wrong opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy talk, bro.
You just agree with me though. You literally just agree with me though. You literally just said what I said before.
I agree with you for the most part, but I'm talking about that specific point as far as they wouldn't have developed, you know what I'm saying, like as fast immediately. As you think. I think if they allowed it, they would have developed faster. You're saying the opposite.
No, I said immediately. There's a difference between faster and immediately.
Oh, I didn't say immediate. I didn't say immediate.
Okay, then we agree with each other. So what are we doing?
Oh, okay, but I don't know, bro. I don't know.
We're saying it from different perspectives.
You still a nasty agenda pusher. At least Mars, I respect Mars because Mars can be honest about old head players, bro. You know what I'm saying? Mars be tripping sometimes, but Mars can admit when he wrong, bro.
But two set. We're literally sitting here saying the same exact thing.
We wasn't. We
really was.
I kind of reeled you in.
No, I opened it up. Nah, 2 seconds. Go rewatch the tape and watch what I said.
Look at the comments, bro.
Watch
comments say I'm
the
cooking you, bro.
the comments always say they
The
cooking
comments
somebody's
said
cooking.
no,
The
bro.
comments always say somebody's cooking me, so that is fine. I literally opened up.
Maybe
I
we're
said,
always getting cooked.
no. But apart, I literally just said when we first started this, I said yes, I think it could happen faster, but immediately, I did not think that was just gonna happen immediately.
Bro,
Like,
I bet you. If
like
they
how long?
changed the
Let's
rules in the
say
70s, right?
how
If
long?
they changed the rules in
How
the
long do you
70s,
think?
I
Like,
gotta
what's the
give it
years?
10 years.
You think 10 years?
I give it 1 decade. If they gave them the rules in the 70s to do what they was doing, I give it
You
a
say
decade.
10
Because
years to
that's
develop. And I actually agree with you. I actually agree
I
with
give it
you.
1 decade.
I give it 10 to 15 years. I give it 10 to 15
So
years.
you would have seen Kyrie in the 80s.
Oh,
I think
of course.
Okay.
Of course.
this
What?
this is funny as
Do
hell,
y'all see
bro.
what Pistol Pete was doing in college? Imagine if they let him break rules. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Y'all
nah,
tripping.
I'm not arguing. I'm just
saying, like, y'all, bro. Pistol Pete college points per game is still not broken today. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he was going crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't
Still.
watched any games, but
Hey,
he was
that's
going
crazy. You trying to gaslight me? I'm over here agreeing with you the whole time, bro. What's
No, I'm
wrong
not
with you, bro?
gaslighting you, bro. It's just that
I
some
was
of your
agreeing with
point,
you the
like,
whole time, though.
bro.
Nah, you was getting cooked. You was getting cooked.
Yeah,
I
you was
was
getting cooked up.
No, I was literally agreeing with you the whole time, though. Literally, word for word, bar for bar.
But you were still getting cooked.
Nah, because you know what I'm saying. You was look.
You can say I'm getting
And the
cooked. I
fact
don't
that you
care.
said Will would be like Clint Capella. Are you mad, bro?
Oh yeah,
Have
Clint
you looked
Capella,
up Wilt's
100%.
track records?
That's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
The
funny.
stuff that he says is
That's
true.
just
Look
funny.
it up on the internet.
Oh
Is
yeah,
free,
yeah.
bro.
I know
Google is
what he
free.
did. Clint Capella. Just because you're
Yeah.
athletic.
He would be Clint Capella. Was
Just
Clint
'cause-
Capella putting up
It might be Jericho Sims, to be honest. It might just be Jericho Sims.
was Clint Capella putting up the athletic numbers that Wilt was putting up? You know what I'm saying? Because this is college records. Was Clint Capella doing that? I just wanted you to answer that question for me, bro.
I mean, if they allow Clint Capella to just stay at the paint, you know, on the offensive decent side where you could just sit here and just rim protect and then.
Bro, do you know
Yeah.
how high Wilt Chamberlain's vertical was, bro? Recorded vertical.
Oh yeah, I know.
Please
It's
look
like
it
I
up on
think
the
it's the
internet.
second. I think it's the second highest. It's second or third highest behind MJ.
And he's and how tall is Wilt Chamberlain, bro?
7'1",
7.
one shoes, I think.
So what you saying? He'll be Clint Capella? Stop, bro.
Just because you're athletic
It'll be
doesn't mean,
Jericho Sims. I just said that. Jericho Sims.
just because you're athletic doesn't mean you're automatically good at basketball, bro. You know this. Come on, you know this.
I mean, of course, but you're but
okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like, come on,
okay.
dog.
I told you
Come
the
on,
part
dog.
about his game that will be freakish is his transition game because his transition game would be amazing in today's day.
Of
But
course, he was a track
other than-
star, long
other than-
jump star.
Yeah, oh yeah. Other than that though, I'm like,
I mean, yeah,
Stop
but
moving me.
that goes back to the transporting players era. But I'm just saying.
I'm
You
just
know what I'm
saying
saying?
too.
The
I
only
know
thing
what
that we
you're
can
saying.
compare,
You know what I'm saying?
truthfully, is the athletic ability, bro.
I know what
and
you're
the fact,
saying.
So where do you have Wilt Chamberlain ranked? Just real quick, where do you have Wilt Chamberlain?
Well, I Wilt Chamberlain all time for players.
Mm-hmm.
I have him in the top 20.
It's kind of low considering how
Yeah.
much.
Oh yeah, you were just praising him. Wait, you have him? In the top 20?
Yeah, but
Is he number one from the 60s?
You act like Clint Capella's top 20.
No, that's is he number one from the 60s for you, Wilt Chamberlain?
Number one from the 60s. I couldn't give that to him because he was losing the Bill.
So Bill Russell's number one.
Of course, he would have to be. He won.
Wait.
So where's Bill Russell right?
Bill Russell's personally in my top 10.
It's a big gap.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Do you have your top 20 on you right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go through it real quick.
All right. So for my number one, I got MJ. For number two, I got LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
For my number three, I have Kareem.
Okay.
For my number four, I have Kobe.
Fire.
For my number five, I have Timmy D.
Fire.
So that's my five.
Uh-huh.
And then for my six, I have Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay.
And then for my seven, I have Magic Johnson.
Okay.
Bro, I got to give it to Magic Johnson, bro. Come on, bro. I got to give.
No, I'm not arguing.
That's a real fraud.
No. Seven for Magic is fine. I'm just trolling. Seven for Magic.
It's not bad.
Magic, that's fair.
What do you have, Bird? Is Bird next?
Yeah, Bird's next. Bird's
Okay.
right behind him.
Okay.
Bird's right behind him. And then I have Steph at number 9. Then I have Bill at 10.
And now who's your 11 through 20?
My 11, I got Hakeem.
Okay. I was waiting.
And then for my 12, that's where it gets tricky. Tricky. I think from my 12, because I put 12, I gotta think about 12 through 15. So I gotta think about my next 3. And so
If you want to just put them like in the same tier, but
in the same tier, cool.
Yeah,
I
just
just
say
say the
that.
same tier. All right, for the same tier. All right, so after that, I'm definitely going to put so I got let me see. Who else will I put in there? I got Dwayne Wade in there.
Damn, at 12?
No, not at 12. He's in the same
tier. This tier of players.
Oh wait, this is 11
from
20
12 to 20. From 12 to 20.
Oh,
12 to
okay,
20.
Okay, 12 to 20. Okay.
I just want to get my big names out the way first. I don't want to forget anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Oh, he didn't say this. He didn't say that.
No, got you.
Let's see. And then let's see. So I got D Wade. Then I got David Robinson. For sure. David Robinson for sure. Let's see. Who else would I put in that top tier? Because I'm trying to think with accomplishments plus championships.
KD.
Oh yeah, KD for sure. I'll put KD in there. KD has to go. I was trying to get my old head players out the way first. KG.
So Oscar Robertson, is he in here? Would you put him in there?
Only got one championship.
You won't put him? Would you put Dr. J in there?
No.
Would you put Moses Malone in there?
Yes.
Would you put KG in there?
Yes.
Would you put Dirk Nowitzki in there?
Yeah, but he'd be like at the end, like 19. 20.
And you're putting Wilt Chamberlain in there. You did say you're putting Wilt Chamberlain in there.
Wilt Chamberlain 1922. So I think that in front of them, it'll definitely have to be people like KG, you know what I'm saying? David Robinson,
Dwayne Wade, KD.
Yeah, KD, those type of players. I'll even put Giannis in there. I'm throwing Giannis in there. Absolutely.
Giannis in there already. Damn.
Absolutely. Already, yeah, because I've the new players that we cite right now. Giannis is the one to do it all by himself and take it to a chip. I can't take it away from him.
But off of your love of the 70s players, why wouldn't Dr. J be in there?
That's Dr. J is for
the only reason.
And honestly, I'm not even gonna hold you. The
only reason I want to have Dr. J in there. The only reason I want to have Dr. J in there is because when he lost the Magic, when Kareem went down.
Okay.
Right. So I think that plays a big factor for me. One game. And then when he played the
one
ABA,
game though, bro. Like, what are we doing?
No, Dr. J, bro. I have Dr. J. That's definitely outside my top 20. But if you know what I'm saying, if I'm being honest with myself, you know what I'm saying. Last time I'm not biased. You know what I'm saying. I can't be biased. But
I know you're not.
Yeah, but I can't say. You know what I'm saying. Like I said, the old heads wouldn't be able. If you know what I'm saying, if the old heads had the same skills, they wouldn't be able to do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, somebody said Isaiah Thomas. Why? How did I forget Isaiah Thomas?
I just find it crazy how you not. I just find it crazy how Dr. J's not in your top 15, the top 20. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't understand that.
I mean, I don't think that's crazy far-fetched. I mean, for skill-wise, of course. You know what I'm saying? I feel like skill-wise, you know what I'm saying? He's like the innovator. You know what I'm saying? He was the man. You know what I'm saying? But as far as when it came to, you know what I'm saying, like coming in clutch when he I feel like he underachieved. I feel like Dr. J underachieved. That's just in my personal opinion.
The merger happens and he was in the finals the same year.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but I feel like as good as Dr. J was, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, the 76ers, I feel like they should have, when Kareem went down, I feel like he should have been able, you know what I'm saying, to overcome the Lakers, you know what I'm saying, even though Magic was going crazy, you know what I'm saying, and they put him at the 5 or whatever, I feel like Dr. J should have been able to overcome that.
I mean, it's not like Dr. J wasn't doing his job, though. The dude had like 27 points in that game.
I mean, yeah, actually, yeah, in that game, but you know what I'm saying, he got outplayed by, you know what I'm saying, by a rookie. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
Oh, rookie, you got Magic Johnson as a top 7 player all time.
Absolutely, and that's why Magic is up on that list. And you know what I'm saying? Like Magic has 5 chips. You know what I'm saying? Magic is led. You know
and
what I'm saying?
Jamal Wilkes had 37 in that game as well.
Yeah, Jamal. Yeah, but Jamal Wilkes is not Dr. J.
But Dr. J had himself, and then his next guy was Daryl Dawkins, who had 14 points.
Daryl Dawkins, the man who Magic Johnson wasn't guarding. But
exactly.
But Dr. J, I think he made the finals in the NBA, 3-4 times. 77 he was in the finals. 1980 he was in the finals. And 82 he was in the finals. And then
Moses Malone was in the finals. And then they
won in 8. And then, yeah, like what can I What?
I don't know. I don't
And
know
then
how.
because he made it in 77, the first year since the merger, and then 80 he made it, and then he lost to Magic and Kareem. Then 82 he made it, and they lost. That's already three. He's already made it 3 times, and then he won in 80. He won in 83. Like he's made it 4 times in the NBA. Not to mention the amount of times he made it and won in the ABA. I don't know what more he can do.
And he
True.
arguably he beat arguably the greatest team of all time. Relative to
All right,
era.
so I mean, I wouldn't be mad putting Dr. J tops. I wouldn't be mad putting Dr. J tops on me. But who would y'all take out? Like, if y'all had from 15 to 20.
I'll probably take Dirk. I'll probably take Dirk out.
You say Dirk? I'll take
He's
Dirk.
over. He's over D Wade. But I
over
take
D-Wade?
out Dirk. I take out Dirk before I
He
take
may
out
be
D-Wade.
over. He may
But
be
he's
over
over
D-Wade
D-Wade.
too.
That's
But I'll take Dirk out.
that's honestly not a bad, you know what I'm saying, comparison matchup. Dr. J and D Wade. That's not
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at that. To take D Wade out and put Dr. J in there. It just I'm just thinking about, you know what I'm saying, like also like all-time accomplishments, the moments, the scenarios, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't take that left one from Dr. J.
I can't believe you try to hold 1980 against him, bro. He had his opposing side had 2 guys putting up 35 plus. That was crazy.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
crazy. But bro, yo, appreciate you for coming on, bro. You be easy, all right?
All right,
Salute.
for sure. Be easy. Appreciate y'all.
I enjoyed that discussion.
That was a great guy. What a man. Pause.
Dr. J underrated though.
That was crazy, Dr. J Slender. What's good, bro?
What's up?
Let
How
me
y'all
read some.
doing? How y'all doing?
Let me do some super chats real quick, then we'll get to you. Me and Ron will cook Shaq and Dell 2v2. That's from Big Ox Bob. Lanny Williams. I'm gonna mute your mic real quick. The evolution argument is valid for a lot of cases. A player like Charles Oakley wouldn't be a starter today, but players like Magic were still doing open gym runs, cooking stars in the early 2000s. That's from Lanny Williams. Nathaniel, why we ignore older players progressively played with newer players and cooked them? It's not as if when Jordan was drafted, Magic just ceased to exist.
I don't know why that made me laugh. But
The name would
no,
take.
no, just that, like, just imagining Jordan gets drafted and Magic just disappears. Like, that was just funny to me.
Got you. Dub making ticket takes. Love
Okay.
ticket, man. Love ticket. Lanny Williams with another one. Despite Dub's bias and insane player comps, the core of what he's saying is true. The game is supposed to evolve. You can appreciate the old gen and the dominance they had, while agreed this is a better era. Drink more water. It is fair to say Kyrie Irving and Paul George are the most over players in the NBA. We celebrate players with bags over impacting wins too much.
I think the way people view impacting winning is just skewed. Just because you won, it doesn't mean you were more impactful than someone who lost. Like, Paul George is an insanely impactful player. Whether or not he's won doesn't change that. The example I go to all the time is Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett in Minnesota was one of the most impactful players in the NBA. But if you don't have enough pieces around you in a 5-on-5 sport, not to mention the depth your squad needs and the coaching, you're not going to win. It doesn't change how impactful you are. Like, the idea that impact is directly correlated to one person's ability to win and lose games is just, in my opinion, it's just a surface level way of thinking about the game. We can understand Golden State go with Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the most important player on that team. But then we should also be able to understand, while not taking away from Steph Curry, that he doesn't win these championships without Klay Thompson, without Draymond Green, without Steve Kerr, without Andrew Bogut at the start, without Andre Iguodala. We should understand those things are also true. It doesn't change how impactful Steph Curry was, but we can also see Steph Curry would still be the same player, be just as impactful, but not win if he didn't have those pieces around him. Like 2021 is a perfect example. Klay Thompson wasn't there. They didn't win. The team around him was not very good. It was Steph, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins starting to learn the team. They didn't win. That didn't mean Steph Curry wasn't as impactful. That means the team wasn't built to win. It doesn't make Steph Curry worse or less impactful unless you're just viewing the
Actually,
game
that
in the
was
most
that was
basic way.
actually one of Steph's more impressive years actually in 2021.
He put up 30, right?
He put
That
up
year.
Yeah, he led the league in scoring. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's actually I'll get into that because I had a different point. But so yeah, because I see the disrespect of Draymond Green. Even though I had a big Draymond guy, I see Ticket and Big Op. I'm like, even yes, Draymond Green isn't probably individually had the best stats or a scorer, but his impact is felt and like and if you don't think Draymond's a big contributor, and you can't use the excuse of in 2016 him missing that game. Then if he wasn't such a big impact to Warriors, so I don't hate when people do that because impact is so much more to winning. Because to games, because like for example, when you say KG, he was still had an impact on the team. They was winning games, more games because of KG. Yeah, they was probably wasn't winning a championship because that team wasn't built to win one around him. But take KG out that team, lottery team every year.
Hmm.
But the point of evolution, I'm gonna talk about like newer players because like players not right now, like the Lucas of the world, they're coming into the league kind of differently now. Because I watched this thing called OTE, and they're like, and it had top high school players in the world, and it's like the evolution of the game scene of high schoolers, they're so refined and polished. So like, there's two guys coming to the draft named the Thompson twins. They're so refined and polished at the high school level. It's kind of like crazy, kind of see how you see the game evolve so much. Because in high school they wasn't as polished as they are now, so it's impacting the game. Even if you look at LeBron James, and look how he developed. Even though he learned, he got the privilege of learning from LeBron James and playing against high level competition. They're evolving. Or you see these guys in high school how they're evolving, their steps, their movement. And not saying that the old head is not as good. It's just the game. People are now the movement. If you just watch like Dub, if you just watch him play, like watching Wilt play, the movements are the same as the movements of centers and big guys today. So that's like kind of evolutionary.
I think like I said before, you have players that do benefit from learning from the past generations. I mean, that's just a fact. Like Mike and drills. Mike and drills is something that people still use
Mm.
today because of just a better just to learn layups better. So like, there's always gonna be players that my bad, I was playing chess. So yeah,
It's
my
all good.
bad. So yeah, and even
You
even some of
good.
the early sets they use in the play calling in the 60s and 70s, it still get used in today's day. Like I said before, like what players did in today's generation, they took what they learned, what they were doing in the past, and improvised on it and made it
Yeah.
better. And they still use what they did in the past even to today's day. I mean, that's just a fact. But
Mm.
that contributes to them just being better overall as well. Because
Yeah,
now they
true.
have
And
what they know, they have what the old heads know, and then they improved on it, and now they improved on it to make the game better. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
yeah, not only that, cause like there's a watching the interview, they said they even took stuff from and one, cause a lot of players they said they had to grow up watching and one back in the early 2000s, the professional. So I just said I'll take those moves. They didn't obviously those moves are illegal, but it was like, hey, I'm gonna watch these moves and learn incorporate my bag so I can use it in the NBA. Cause like the professor of me having Paul George and NBA players, on his YouTube channel, he said I watch the moves and he said and I try to incorporate to my bag a little bit and try to blow by. But instead of doing those illegal moves that you do because for the camera they do it the blow bys to set you up because the little footwork that's another thing, footwork and like little movements with the shoulders, things like that you can get a defender off you. And
Hmm.
also Young 3,000 assists already this early in his career is kind of crazy.
Who? Trey Young?
Yeah, he got 3K assists.
Hack Trey Young up. I'm done with him, bro. I'm done. I'm done with him.
Because I live I'm Atlanta and I understand why people don't
Uh,
like Trey Young because I think it's more of his personality than his play, in my opinion.
I love Trey's personality. I love his personality. I think I love the bad guy mentality. The thing about Trey
He's
is
buying
just,
into it too much, in
huh?
my opinion. He's buying into it too much because like
Uh-huh.
the way the Hawks played yesterday, they should have been playing like this. Like the Hawks they're in my opinion, they should be way better with their record. They're frustrating to watch. They
Hmm.
have these leads, they blow them. They're immature because they have the talent. I like how the team's constructed. They started the season well. There's a top four team in the
Hmm.
East, and
Hmm.
now they just started. It's like, what's going on?
I think Trey Young, bro. It's like I see y'all acquired Dejounte Murray, bro. I think
Mm-hmm.
Dejounte Murray's been playing phenomenal for you
Yeah,
guys.
he's been balling.
But Trey Young, it's like his efficiency, his shot selection. You could tell that there's some sort of like animosity between the players as well with him. It's like I think he's just bad, bro. Like I think his game is just like you said, like you touched on the Hawks. Like his game just seems very immature right now in my eyes, and he
Yeah,
needs to
that's
grow
it.
out of it.
I think he's
That's
too
it.
small. I just think he's too small.
No way, Moss. No way, Moss.
The thing is,
I think he's too small. I don't know. Like the reason I've said this before. I think he takes so many deep threes because he has such a low set point and he's this small. He can't get that shot off closer to the 3-point line when defenders are guarding. He can't get it off. He can't finish around the rim because he's too small. That's why he struggles around there, and that's why he's resorting to all these. He resorts to these floaters because he's too small. He can't get these easy looks like a DeJounte Murray can, like even a Kyrie. Kyrie's bigger than Trey. He's bigger and he's stronger. So and not to mention, it's like it comes also the set point that he doesn't have much of a mid-range game because he releases the ball from such a low point. In the mid-range, you have to like release the ball from a higher point. Kevin Durant, even Kyrie, they shoot from a higher point. So when I'm looking at Trae Young, I'm like, yeah, the shot selection isn't good, but what other shots can he create for himself? He has to live off a diet of these inefficient shots. So I understand why he's inefficient. It's just it's gonna cap how impactful I think he can be.
But he was able, but
he was efficient the other years.
I can't give him
he
that.
He wasn't inefficient the other year, but he wasn't like efficient.
I can't give him that cop out.
He wasn't like this.
I can't give him. I can't give him that cop out. I can't give him that cop out because last season his efficiency was better all across the board, and he didn't have a guy like DeJounte Murray right next to him. If you want to talk about the years before, sure, it's similar to what he was doing the years before. But last season, with not that good of a supporting cast, he was seen having better shooting splits and better efficiency. So he was able to figure that out despite what you just said. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm not here for that cop out for Trae Young that he's too short or too small.
I don't view it as a cop out. I just view it as that's the reality. I mean,
I feel you. Last season,
I mean, you saw the playoffs when teams loaded up on him. But
we literally just game. I'm not gonna lie, we game.
Yeah, you guys game plan for it. But like this season, I do think part of it is the team organization. I don't like how Nate McMillan's running that offense at all.
Yeah, that too.
I don't think it works. I think that's hurting his efficiency. I don't think he's this inefficient of a player. Me personally, but I do think there's a ceiling to his efficiency because of his size, and that's what I'm trying to say.
AJ Griffin's a good pick. I like AJ Griffin. I feel like he could be a solid guy. But like here's the thing with Trey, because I feel like his efficiency will he be a 40%? No, but I expect him to be like 36%, 38% in my opinion. Because like, and I think also his shot selection because he be taking some crazy shots. I'm like, all right, Trey, I understand for the crowd. It'd be because like let's be honest, because like I watched him just take a step in because he has such a great ball handle. He creates separation from to get a normal three, and I see him get his shots off because I watch him live. I feel like he doesn't need to add more muscle. I feel like his size will impact his durability for his career, in my opinion. I feel like he won't have like a 15-year career because, like he said, because he's not as big as Chris Paul. Even though like another shorter guy that's big, because Chris Paul is a bigger guy, and that's the thing. Trey is small because I've seen him up in the low season.
He's not 6'1". He's not.
He's probably 6 foot. I'll give him 6 foot, and he's skinnier than.
Small. He is small.
But he's quick though. But watching him, he's very quick though. Like he is very quick. But also, I'm gonna get back on the evolutionary train. I'm gonna go back on players. Like let's look at point guard for example. Russell Westbrook, like the athleticism point guards, is just kind of crazy how the athleticism evolution. Because I appreciate the evolution of athleticism because the birth of point guards like Ja. Because back then there wasn't that many point guards that are playing above the rim like today. Or back then, because like there's no point guard we've seen like Russell Westbrook. The closest thing we probably seen to a Westbrook was like AI.
Closest thing we seen to a Westbrook is AI?
No, I'm lying.
Jason
Penny Hardaway. Jason. I'm talking about with the athleticism.
Oh,
like,
athleticism.
That's what I mean, not game, because actually AI and Russ personality wise they're very similar due to how their careers kind of go based off MVP year. Playing bad on other inefficient players, kind of playing bad on other teams. But evolution of the game, I agree with what the last guy said and what you had to say, Dub, because it's so much nuance into it. Even with centers with a 3-point, I feel like players will be able to. You can't just teleport because like the shooting has very big impact to the game because you need these skills because the NBA continue evolution just to get better. Because look, like we have a 7'4" guy come into the league that can shoot and play like a guard. I feel like later on we're gonna have like 6'5" dudes in the league. Like there's still gonna be shorter guys like 6 foot, 6'1", but we're gonna be seeing more like the Raptors lineup, 6'9" and up guys. Cade Cunningham, 6'8" guard. We're seeing a lot more 6'8" guards now than we are ever before.
That's because of Magic
Uh,
Johnson, though.
Yeah, Magic Johnson, but he was the first one, and now there's more coming. LeBron James, small forward, is like all it takes is one. Really, all it takes is one, and players gonna be motivated. Yeah, hey, I'm gonna work on my. It's like Curry. Curry motivated people, smaller guys that hey, I can make the league because I can just work on my skills. Curry's not a super athlete, but it just takes one dude to to motivate players like that, like Dr. J. Like you said, Dr. J. There was no Dr. J. There was no MJ. No
mhm,
MJ, no Kobe.
mhm.
That's how it goes. How it always
It's
will
it's
be.
a it's a it's a domino effect, right? And that's what I was trying to say. It's always going to be a domino effect, which is why I said to the other guy to sit here and say like guys in the '70s take the rules out, they automatically would sit here and be like players of today. I think it would take a shorter amount of time, but I don't think that they would just automatically get better because you need those trendsetters. You need the
Hmm.
guys to start the trend. You need the guys who's going to start doing these things so that people can copy off of them. That's what humans do. We copy off each other. We copy each other's flow, add on to it, and incorporate it into our own flow. Then overall, try our best to create a better product. And without those players having a gauge of what we can do,
Hmm.
I mean, it is what it is. The product just isn't going to be the same, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And
a
before,
domino effect. It's a domino
got
effect.
you. And before I go, I have two more points. One, hey Dub, your Eagles helped me made a lot of money in this playoff run. I got
Ah,
all my playoff predictions are right. Like I got all them from AFC and NFC right. Hopefully the Eagles get me right one more time. All
I
right,
think the Eagles might win too. I'm not going to hold you.
but lastly, I'm gonna put an example to my sport, track and field, because I run track. So that's a perfect example of evolutionary. Because back then, a 10 will win the Olympics. Nowadays, you got to run like a 9 seconds.
Hmm.
Their high schoolers running 10.2s. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. But also, it's because back then they didn't have spikes that was running on dirt tracks. They didn't have the same like I think like high knees. They didn't even know what high knees was back then,
Hmm.
which is crazy. So now there's more drills, more exercises, more it's little things that help you make you faster. People think it's big things, but it's little big exercises to make you more explosive, more faster. And that's what nowadays athletes are doing. It's not like we're not saying old heads aren't as skilled or doing this, but it's like now today we have access to more technology, more training regimens. People are training a lot more early. That's why people get hurt. Like why players get hurt like Zion. Zion's been playing basketball for his whole life, like big men in AAU, high school, and it
Hmm.
wear and tear on your body because they play so much basketball. It's not,
Hmm.
and that's how and it weighs on the body. Anthony Davis plays so much basketball. He having some. I don't know. I don't know what's going on when they do now.
I see your
That's
point.
probably a bad example.
No, I see your point though. The wear and tear, and I wish that we could sit here and get a better gauge of what the guys was doing in the younger generation in the '70s and '80s. See if we can compare and see if that's like an accurate take. I've
Hmm.
had heard that take before, but I do want to know, like, I do want to see the numbers between that. And also, when you were talking about track, that's another thing. Like, I did track as well, and it's like damn near every single year is like a new record's getting broken and
Yep.
broken every year in a specific different category. Throwing, pole vaulting, sprints. It's like
Yeah,
every
it's
single
crazy.
year the record is getting broken in a year in and year out basis, bro. Like in the five
Yeah, it's
years, in
crazy.
5 years in track and field, your high school records is going to be different in 5 years. It is what it
Oh
is,
yeah, yeah.
and
Because in
it's crazy.
my high school, 23 was the record. I'm like, really? This is the record? I broke that my freshman year.
Well, and that's like it's crazy on how people are progressing, and that's because of technology, the regiments they have, the shoes that they're wearing and stuff. Like it is what it is, but we don't have to sit here
Yeah,
and deny the facts. These are the facts that we've been shown. Like I
but
said, I was
yeah,
about to say, what's that dude? What's that track and field guy? That track and field guy in World War II. The runner,
Jesse
Jesse
Owens.
Owens.
Jesse Owens. Like Jesse Owens, like
Hmm.
is probably
He's
the
fast
greatest. He's the greatest runner in the history of track and field.
until
But is
Usain Bolt came.
yeah, is he the best? Is he the best runner? No. He's
But Usain Bolt's anomaly because like his acceleration is like he's a freaking nature because Usain to be 6'5" and to run like that, that's
nah. He's
crazy.
ridiculous.
When your
That's
surname is
it.
Bo, it's destiny.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
oh,
the thing. That's the thing. I like he's destined to be fast. Like some people, like you got to be great at sport. For certain name like Hakeem Olajuwon, Hakeem the Dream. That's how you know you got to be great. With a name like Magic, you gotta be great. Like your name Magic, bro. You gotta at least hoop.
I
Like you
feel you,
can't just
bro.
be LeBron. But yeah, but I appreciate you guys coming up here. Hey, I want Jason Tatum to win MVP. He's been hooping. I know Jokic, but JT, that's my guy. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Shout out Mars. Shout out Dove.
Fire. You be safe, bro.
All right, you too.
Peace. Let me read some of these real quick. We got Tyson in the building. Which NBA star has the most fun to watch highlights? Most fun to watch highlights? That's crazy. I'm not saying John Morant. Are we saying today or like in NBA history?
All time is Kobe.
All time Kobe? All time Kobe, really?
100%. Yes,
I
Kobe
don't.
highlights are crazy.
I think Kobe highlights are crazy, but I
Are
think I
you
could.
talking about just like feats of athleticism, or like shooting, or pat?
Everything. There's
Everything in totality?
everything you
Yeah.
could want. Kobe has in his highlights. Every single thing.
Sean Kemp is crazy. You got some all-time dunkers in there
Sure.
but they don't have the body of work. Like if he's talking everything, then yeah, Kobe's up there for sure.
Because you got like athletic Kobe like 2001.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
you got the skilled Kobe like 08, 2010. Then you got the passing like from basically the whole time. Like there's everything you could want.
yeah.
Why not LeBron James then?
I'm not talking about him anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he has the passing, he has the defense, he has the dunking, the shooting. There's some times where he went on crazy
Kobe's up
shooting
there.
splits, and
Yeah, Kobe's. I mean, LeBron's crazy. Like, yeah,
LeBron's crazy too. I
LeBron's
like T
crazy.
Max though. I love seeing T
T-Mac
Max
is
and
nasty.
Yeah, T-Mac is up there with Kobe for me.
Melo. I'm not gonna lie, I could watch Melo tape all day, bro. I would love
Melo's
watching.
just like a technician with his
Yo,
footwork and score his bag. It's he doesn't have the athleticism those other guys had, but as far as footwork and just like dogging people in the post and in the mid range, it's nasty.
people would be on him. They would be on him the whole time too, and he would still make the shit, bro.
Yeah, he would still make the shot. It was incredible what Melo did with the ball for sure.
Facts. Dub watch games. He's fixed his shot selection. If he's fixed his shot selection the last 2 games, I'm not hearing you, bro. Like, I'm serious. Like, I'm not hearing you. Like, come on, bro. He
I
still has
think
a bad shot selection.
y'all had an argument before about like Nate McMillan, and to me, Nate McMillan has been great for Trey's evolution as far as like a disciplinarian, like curtailing his.
Oh
I think we lost him.
Oh,
no. Oh,
We hear
I
you.
hear you. I hear you. Yep. There you go. There you go. Say something.
y'all got me.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
we
We
got you.
got
We
you.
got
We
you.
got you.
Yeah,
You was talking about you left off as like
Trey. He's just not it, bro. He is what he is at this point. I think.
what were you saying about Nate McMillan? Because you cut out on there.
Oh, because y'all was talking about him earlier, like they trying to get rid of him. They're talking about firing him, and as far as what Trey needs, and like McMillan was that disciplinarian. He already curtailed Trey Young's shot taking and his bad shot, and trying to get him to be more of a facilitator of the offense, and it's just not translating. So I don't know. I don't know what they
That's
do with Trey.
I think like for Nate McMillan, I do agree with you that he was a good part of setting Trey up for success, especially in the beginning of his career. But I think there's a point in time where it's like you can only grow so much with somebody, right?
Sure.
And Nate McMillan, I think is like this is probably the best we will see Trey Young be with Nate McMillan, and now it's just try to see a new face, you know?
I agree, but I think this is the best Trey Young we're gonna see. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
I do.
No way.
I do. I don't think it gets much better for him. And he's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not winning basketball. You know what I'm
So-
saying?
Yeah, I'm like off the Trey Young train at this point. He's losing me. That's all I can say. He's losing me.
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
So where do you guys rank Trey right now? Is he a top 20 player?
Ooh, that's tough.
Oh no, the league is that. I used to have him as I think I had him as like the 4th best point guard in the NBA. Now he's like 6th.
Kyrie's
So
better.
I'll take Kyrie.
I'll take Kyrie over Trey any day.
I'll take Kyrie.
I was saying he's better than Ja.
Shout out to Euro though. Euro's been.
You
the
was
first one
saying
saying
that. Like
this.
when I first started watching, which is not too long ago, you said that Trey was better than Ja, and I almost lost it from watching it myself.
I think
hey.
the thing is I
kidding.
think he was better than Ja Morant at that point. But now every time I watch him, like part for me, the issue I have with Nate McMillan is just the offense is very stagnant. If you think that's because of Trey, that's a conversation I'm willing to have. I mean, it might be because of him, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's no way you just it's like it's my turn, your turn type of thing. Trae Young will run the offense, and then when he doesn't have the ball, he's just standing in the corner when DeJounte has it. Like, there's no way you have talent, like that level of talent, and you're not doing something more.
I think you get rid of Trae and let Murray grab the reins to that thing, man, and see how far he could take it with some other good pieces. For sure.
Did you watch that show? Did you watch that show when I said that?
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't agree with you too often, but I definitely agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let Murray grab the reins of that thing, put some good pieces around him, and I think they can go a lot further. Even though Trae has took him to some good places, you know what I'm saying? Against Philly, that was a good series. In that last game, I think he dogged it, and what's the boy's name? Huerta, however you said, he bailed him out.
Kevin Huerta, yeah.
He bailed him out. So, but Trae, nah, man.
I really like what I've seen from DeJounte Murray this year. I think he stepped up a lot as a defender, as a scorer. And even though he's not averaging the same much, I think as a passer, he did get a little bit better as well.
I called him overrated.
You did call him overrated. I remember that. You were nasty for that.
No, I wasn't. People were gassing him because he was averaging a near triple-double. They weren't watching Spurs games.
Are they gassing him right now?
No. And I think he's better now than he was last year. That's the point. They were just looking at the box score. My whole point, he was like 19, 9 and 9 or whatever. And they were acting like he was just some second coming of Russell Westbrook when they weren't watching him. That was the issue I had with him.
I feel you. And nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about DeJounte Murray actually this season. Now that I think
because he's not averaging a near triple-double. Like, people just look at the box score. I'm trying to tell you. Like,
that's crazy. That's so crazy.
Yeah, he's nice. When the offense is running through him, it just looks a lot better to me. Than when Trae is running the offense, you know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me read off this super chat real quick from Alex Martin. Does OKC win a chip if KD had Dame instead of Russ? Damn, that's a great question.
Up until 2016, no. Unless you assume KD stays.
2016. What was 2016 Dame doing?
2016 Dame was losing to Golden State without Steph.
Without Steph?
Yeah, Steph got hurt. Missed like most of the series. Played like 2 games. And Dame was not playing well. Like, up until Dame didn't like turn the corner until like maybe the next year. Like, Dame was a good player, but that's when Dame was still just being called underrated. Russell Westbrook was the second best point guard in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He was just a much better.
But 2016, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not holding.
If you think the shooting is that valuable, I just find it hard to believe you think they don't win that series with Steve Nash.
Mars, you nasty, bro. Nasty.
If you think the shooting of Dame would be that valuable that they win, but you don't think they win with Steve Nash, I think it doesn't make sense.
It's not about shooting; it's about aggressiveness. I don't trust Steve Nash to be the aggressive player that Russ was to be up 3-1. Damian Lillard, I would trust his aggressiveness. 1, 2. You're penalizing Damian. You said Damian Lillard was losing to the Golden State Warriors without Stephen Curry.
Yeah, that's what happened in
2016. Yeah, but bro, like, there's not that Golden State Warriors team was still stacked.
I'm not saying I expected him to win. I'm saying that's what happened. I'm reminding you of the year. He also played trash in the series. Yeah. Just so you know, he played
trash in the series, but I mean, come on, bro. That
he had a bad series, but
he played trash.
His team, that's just a way.
I'm just saying, Draymond Green was the best player on the court that series, and I heard he was trash. But
that's nasty.
Yeah, if you put Dame on the OKC, I think we might have some different outcomes. I honestly do. I just feel like Russ he's a detriment to your team. He's like in the playoffs. He kills me. I can't do it. I can't do it with Russ, man.
Russ does kill it in the playoffs, bro. I'm gonna go with Dame, but Mars, like, I'm sorry, you gotta let go of this Steve Nash, bro. You gotta let go of this.
He's better than your favorite point guard.
Only thing I say about Steve,
unless it's like Steph Curry or Magic Johnson.
Who is my favorite point guard?
Chris Paul. He's better than Chris Paul.
No, he's not better than Chris Paul.
He's better than Chris Paul.
No, not
Steve
at all.
Nash.
Steve Nash.
He's better than Chris Paul. He's better than Chris Paul. He's better than Chris Paul.
We'll have to lie.
Chris Paul ranks higher because of longevity, but he's better than him.
Peak, it's still Chris Paul.
No, peak is Steve Nash. Peak is Steve Nash.
No, peak is Chris Paul.
Peak is Steve Nash.
How?
2 MVPs.
Ah! Nah,
Two MVPs.
Yeah.
who,
Nah, I thought you
Yeah.
who
rated the
finished? Wait,
MVP
wait, wait, wait,
debate. I
wait, wait,
thought you
wait, wait,
said the
wait.
MVP. It was just this
Hey,
your
two
fan
MVPs.
vote.
Hold
Two
on,
I
hold
mean,
on.
not
Who
fan
MVPs.
vote,
finished?
but
Who finished?
just
Who finished more times in top five in MVP
narratives.
voting?
Who cares about top five? Who cares?
Who finished
Who
more though? Who
won
finished
it?
more?
Who
Who
won it? I genuinely don't know.
Who got the All Star MVP?
Chris Paul. Let me see. Who does have the All Star
I
I know.
just
MVP?
told you, bro.
Wait,
I'm looking at it right now.
I'm
you
just
do
think
telling.
Steve Nash. I got Chris Paul.
Steve Nash does not have an All-Star MVP.
Chris Paul got one. There we go. He won.
Oh damn.
He
damn,
got it.
damn.
Hey,
See?
Yeah, I
real quick,
lost.
real quick. I wanted to get into you guys take.
We lost him again.
It's like in and out.
I keep on
Not,
cutting out, bro.
yeah, you keep on cutting
Good
out. What
now.
was your
You good
question,
now.
real quick?
I was just saying about the topic of the show when you guys talk about old era and new era, and I think what you guys leave out a lot, especially Dub. I mean, Mars. I love Mars and his takes or whatever, but you guys always leave out the mental aspect of the game. Like some of these guys' talent is it is what it is. Like you have less talented players who are greater. You have more talented players who are not as great. You know what I'm saying? But you guys never really get into the mentality and people's will to win and what makes Jordan great and what makes LeBron and all these players great. A lot of time is their mentality. Tracy McGrady is more talented than a lot of players, but he might not necessarily have a mentality. You know what I'm saying? To affect winning like these other guys had. So Kobe, for instance, his mentality on winning. You guys never get into that, and what makes these guys great. You talk about their skill.
Um, you cut out again, but we got the point. The issue. Well, the reason I don't like talk about mentality or whatever, because even though I think it's important. If you played sports at any level, you would understand how important mentality is and confidence, etc. is a big part of success. But the reason I don't talk about it is because I can't I can't prove someone's mental toughness. Like, for example, MJ won 6 rings. That's fantastic. If I attribute him winning it because of his mentality, I just see that as that's just like a base. To me, it's just like it's like a cop out way of viewing things. Like, oh, T Mac lost because he wasn't as mentally tough. Like, no, he lost because of, to me, other reasons. So, like, I don't want to just use mentality. I can't prove how mentally tough someone was. So I can't prove how mentally tough Kobe was. I hear the stories. I'm not discrediting any of the stories, but on the court, I'm watching basketball games on the court. I'm not there just looking at Kobe killing people mentally. I'm not seeing that. I'm watching what he's doing without the ball. I'm watching what he's doing with the ball. I'm watching everything to do with playing basketball. Do I believe mentality is part of it? Yes, but if I start talking about mentality, then the conversations get really crazy subjective, crazy arbitrary. Like if I tell someone Steph Curry has the best mentality ever, who are you to tell me I'm wrong? Like you can't prove me wrong. It's just something I'm gonna believe. So that's why I don't really like talking about it because it's just hard for me to like measure, I guess. So I just try to keep out of the conversation, I guess. If that makes sense.
Oh man. To answer the question, that was beautiful, Mars. To answer the
Thank you.
question, my whole thing with the mentality, people that I know is the people that I know. If I don't, I don't. Like Paul George, I talked about Paul George, his scoring, and I think that is a mentality issue because I think he does have the physical tools and the talent to be a great scorer, but I think that there's something with his mentality that keeps him from being like that 25 efficient guy. I think he's too nonchalant or not as confident enough, and that does play a part in your game. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
But like besides like Kobe, like MJ, LeBron has a strong mentality too. Is like how many people can I argue the mentality argument against? Like really, like it's not.
I can't argue Kareem's mentality. It's like
I haven't seen it like that. I can't argue Kareem's. I can't argue Magic's like that. I can argue CP3's because I know him. Jimmy Butler's, I know him like that. Kevin Garnett's, Paul Pierce's mentality. But I mean, even with those guys with a strong mentality, the Boston Celtics won when they were all together, right? They weren't winning on their own. They won when they formed that team. Even with those strong mentalities, they still didn't get it done until they were together. So it's like how much am I gonna sit here and factor in mentality to a player being better than somebody else? I get it though.
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah,
a good
I
point to
get
have.
I get that people value it, and I'm not saying I don't value it. I just when I'm talking about players and who's better, I just can't. Like mentality is so subjective and so ambiguous. Like if I say I have Bird over Magic because I think Bird is mentally tougher because he played with a bad back, like to me it's just like I can't. It's like something you don't. There's nothing to argue at that point. It's like arguing accolades. That's the way I view it. It's just like arguing accolades, in my opinion. So
I feel you.
I just keep out of the conversation as much as possible. But I do understand it's important in sports.
Got you. Cruiser Nation, what's good with you, bro? I think your mic is muted or something, cause I don't hear you, my guy.
Maybe he's talking to someone else.
Nah, I don't hear you, bro.
No, he's not. Talking.
Let me say that he's not talking to us.
No, he might be spitting right now, but we will never know.
I want to know. Does he even? I don't know. Does he know? Yo, put a thumb up if you know that you in here. Oh, okay. So he is talking to us. He is talking to us. Yeah, I can't hear you, bro. Like I can't hear you at all.
Damn.
Cause it's throwing me off. Cause he's looking that way, but then the camera's right there, so I didn't know. I got you.
He came with a great setup as well, and now his mic's not working. That's tough.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna bring somebody else up. See if you can figure that out, and then I'm gonna have you up here, my guy. You.
What up, though?
What's good?
What's
What's
up?
good? Let me read the super chat real quick. Alex Martin with the super chat. Switch Bulls and Warriors dynasty. Are they coming out with the same success? So
Huh?
if the Golden State Warriors was in the 90s,
I don't get that.
and if the Chicago Bulls was in the 2015s.
I don't think any team is winning 6 championships in this game.
I think Warriors win 8 championships. I think they had the same success.
In the 80s? I mean, in the
No,
90s?
do they still get Kevin Durant?
Do they still get Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant, then I think they win about 6.
So
Yeah,
they'll probably
that KD team is going to be hard to beat.
Not a 73. No, I mean I think they win about 3 or 4.
So if I'm gonna sit here and play this hypothetical game, the Warriors in the beginning would have just Stephen Curry for the 2 finals trips that they went on.
Yeah, Steph, Clay,
And
Draymond.
in 1990. So are they beating the Los Angeles Lakers without KD?
The Lakers?
The Lakers with Magic and James Worthy.
Yeah, they beating them.
And then are they beating the
Yeah,
Phoenix
maybe.
Suns the next year?
No, Portland was the next year.
Portland, my bad.
They beat every team MJ beat the Warriors better than them.
I think they mopped Phoenix in '93. That defense.
But they'll
was
have
trash.
KD. They'll have KD at that time. So
even then. But yeah, I think the Lakers is tough. That can go either way in my opinion. I think they beat Portland, and then KD arrives and they mop Phoenix. With or without KD, they mop Phoenix in my opinion.
And then do they beat the Houston Rockets?
The Rockets.
Well, the Bulls didn't play them, so the Bulls didn't play them, so
the Sonics.
We'll go with the Sonics. Do they beat the Sonics?
With or without KD?
With KD.
They beat the Sonics for sure.
Yeah, I think they beat Seattle with KD.
Okay,
and then get the Jazz out of here, man. What we doing, man?
Jazz out of here. All right, so now we're gonna do Chicago.
No, the Jazz was good though. They swept Shaq.
Yeah, good for him. Get out. I'm not talking about
John Stockton's a fraud.
I'm not talking about the Jazz, man. Shaq couldn't guard a pick and roll. Draymond Green can. I'm not doing that.
What do we call it? And then another one is the Chicago Bulls from 2015 onward. Do they three?
So do the Cavs get hurt again?
Cavs could get hurt again. Yeah, I'll give them that.
Okay, so that's a win.
Yeah.
2016, the Cavs. I think they beat the Cavs in 2016.
Yeah.
2017, the Cavs again. I think they destroyed the Cavs in 2017 just because of their bad defense.
And then,
this is with Horace Grant.
Yeah, that's
first 3
fine.
times. Now we're including Dennis Rodman in the next 3.
So
okay.
So 2019, fully healthy.
They're playing the Raptors.
Toronto. Yeah, they're playing Toronto.
Raptors.
I think they beat Toronto.
Yeah.
2022. Boston. Does Scottie Pippen still have a bad back?
Yeah, I think we would have to.
They beat Boston.
Okay. Yeah, they beat Boston. I just wanted to see what. Yeah, I think they win every year. Genuinely, I genuinely think they win every year.
Okay.
It's still the same both ways to me for both
Same
teams.
both ways. They both still dominate. So you have the Showtime Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, and the which Bulls teams is better? You guys going with the 72-10 team?
Yeah, I think the second 3P team is better than the first.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the second 3P team is Chicago Bulls. In this hierarchy, who's 1 through 3?
As a whole, or just single seasons, like 2017 Warriors, or just the KD Warriors. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, overall, Mars. You know how we do this. We do
Okay,
overall.
so Chicago, number 1. So when we do Showtime Lakers, so I need to make sure I'm on. So when we do Showtime Lakers, we're doing the whole time Magic and Kareem played together, or just like
Just the overall, So which version of Lakers do you think was the best? Was it with Jamal Wilkes? Or was it with James?
87 Lakers are the best.
87.
87 Lakers is the best Lakers. Are you sure?
Yeah, in my opinion.
With an older Kareem?
I watched that finals.
That's peak Magic Johnson. That's Michael Cooper still on that team. James Worthy's on that team. Magic Johnson at his peak. Byron Scott's on that
was
team.
a dog.
Okay.
I think they're better than like the 80. I think they're better than 1980 Lakers for sure.
Better than the 85.
They're better than the 85 Lakers.
So,
the 86 Celtics.
Yeah, 86 Celtics.
That's a tough matchup. I don't know because those teams are. But 87 Lakers, I think the 2017 Warriors are better than the 87 Lakers. So Bulls, Lakers, Bulls, Warriors, Lakers, in my opinion.
Got you. All right, cool. That was a nice question. What you got to say, my guy? And let me see if we can get my guy up here, Cruiser up here. Yo, Cruiser.
What up, dog?
There we go.
What's going on with y'all, man? What's up with you, man?
We good, man. We good.
Got the big dog Mars in the building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So,
hey,
I
can go?
Yeah. Both of y'all can go. Go ahead.
Hey, Dub. Man, I don't really got no problem with you, Dub. I don't got no problem with Mars. I like y'all boys' takes. Dub, I think you an old school though guy though, deep down inside, Dub. You just like to argue, bro. Listen. Hey, Dub. When you say that, I'm mixed. I'm 85. I'm born 85. So I got a chance to see Jordan. I got a chance to see this generation. I would never say that the generation before me was worse than where I'm at now. I think what they went through a lot. I think those guys back then could handle the ball. They could dribble the ball. They could shoot the ball. It was that back then you got to think too, coaching. Players got more power now. So the coaching is different now. If you was a big man back in the days, like KG was, when he was in high school, KG looked like a 2-guard. Mm-hmm. Go back and look at him in high school, he like a 2-guard. But you go to college, they be like, man, no, you too big. You 6'10", you 6'11". You got to go to the block. You got to go here. So I think those guys did have a game. It's just the coaching back then didn't let them. And what I think is in sports today too is the game never changed, like Mars said earlier. No, the rules never changed. Rules still the same. And that lets you know defense back then, the reason older guys say the guys back then was a little bit better defensively is because the zone defense, Mars, tell me if I'm mistaken. You probably looked this up. The zone defense didn't really get implemented to about 2002, right, Mars? Around about that time.
Yeah.
So back then you had to actually lock your man up, man to man. Revert back to where we at now. Look at the teams. Go to Golden State. Go back to last year, Golden State. Go back to even Boston before they got to Golden State. When the game slows down, everything reverts back to its natural nature. Everybody, the teams that win championships, even the 04 Pistons, they were the first team to be able to switch everything. They beat the Lakers. Any team that can switch is going to give team problems. Houston Rockets with KD, them, the most unbeatable team, they would have them down before Chris Paul went down. Chris Paul said the only reason they learned how to switch because they knew they was going to have to face Golden State. If you can switch and play man-to-man, they're going to be the teams who are going to win in the NBA. So, yeah, the rules changed a little bit because nobody played defense in the regular season. And with the process of the new, what's that new system they got with the play-in tournament, a lot of teams a little bit more lax. They feel like, let us just get to the 9 or 10 spot. So the regular season ain't
It don't mean as much.
Don't mean as much as what it did. So the defense is a little bit more lax. But when the playoffs come, it reverts back to the old days. And another thing I hate, the KD situation. They were talking about Tatum locked KD up. Nobody guards KD one-on-one in the NBA. They didn't guard him one-on-one. Tatum stood in front of him. When KD dribbled right, another person came off the edges and collapsed. When he dribbled left, another person came. They basically triple teamed KD, and they had no shooting around KD. Kyrie was on Ramadan. Let's be real. He had that one game where he scored 40 points. After that, Kyrie was eating bananas. He didn't have no energy. They had no shooters, no Joe Harris. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to play man-to-man defense, and that's why a lot of these guys, Draymond, a good help defender. What's your boy name? Giannis, a good help defender. But ain't too many guys that can actually D up and play D. You got Kawhi Leonard, Paul George when he want to. From
Kel
this
Bridges.
generation that I've seen, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Then you can go back a little bit. Bruce Bowen, Tony Allen.
Wait, Bridges don't be guarding up one-on-one?
Bridges, I just missed him. Bridges do his thing, but I'm just
Wiggins.
saying Bridges, Wiggins, and another thing with Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, that's why the physicality matters with the old school. Look how Jason Tatum, as good as he is, watch the teams that get physical with him. That's why Jaylen Brown had most success consistently in the playoff, because Jason Brown played through contact better than Jason Tatum. Watch when Jason Tatum get a bigger guy on him. Anybody who's 6'8" or better give Jason Tatum problems.
He like
you touch him a little bit, he fumbled the ball, he turned the ball over. He don't play good through contact. That's why a lot of guys, and I think back in the days, you had at the 1 and 2 spot, I think the point guards handled the ball a little bit better, and then your 2 guard back then could handle the ball a little bit better. So I think you had more ball handlers back then than you got now, and that shows once the playoffs come, because you got Luka, he gonna bring the ball up. You know what I mean? He gonna bring the ball up. LeBron, he gonna bring the ball up. But the rest of them guys need to get their shots created from LeBron or Luka or them other guys. KD, Brooklyn, they gonna be good. Jason Tatum, he all right. He got all right handle, but it's gonna be mostly Kyrie, KD. You go to Phoenix, Devin Booker got all right handle. You go to Chris Paul, him. Who else? And somebody else. And Drew Holiday, I forgot about him. That's another one. Drew Holiday are more of an old school defender too. In the day, nobody really played one-on-one. Everybody getting picks. You get picked, you get the good guy off you, and they think, oh, he dropped 740 on this joker head. No, he didn't. If you go back and look at when certain these defenders on these jokers primarily, you can tell. That's what you got to go back and look at. When a guy's on a guy primarily most of the time. You can't say, oh, I got a pick from this guy. He was guarding me. I dropped 40, so he gave me 40 buckets. No, he wasn't on you the whole time. You went around 30 screens.
That's another thing. That's another reason why I don't think these new players is as talented as people think they is, because they're going out here scoring 30 and 40 every night, but they're doing it against average defenders. When the best defenders is coming up to guard them, they're calling for screens every time. They're not going at the best defenders. They scoring on. They trying to get a switch to have Jokic guarding a point guard. Of course, you're gonna get a bucket like that. I mean, it ain't. I'm not that impressed with these guys.
So it's more skill to obviously take the better defenders one-on-one and score that way, and that's what players back then were doing more than today. It's all about mismatches. So of course you're going to look better when you're attacking a mismatch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
you can't argue that. I'm not gonna lie. You can't argue that.
And I think
it's just a different. I like to argue, so I'm not going to argue this whole time.
I think the play style is just different.
Hey, Doug,
these players coming up today, they working on their threes. They starting from the outside in, but the players back in the day, they started from the inside out. So back in the 80s and 90s, the players was more skilled in the paint and in the post. Versus today, they more skilled at shooting threes. That's all it is. It's just a different play style. I mean,
but people view jump shooting as skill. Like if you look at the most skilled player, like it's all jump shooting and ball handling. So that's why people say today's more skill, because that's what people view as skill. It's not about post work. It's not really about footwork. It's not even about like passing or any of those things. It's just about how well can you shoot and how well can you dribble. Like that's what skill is at this point.
Yeah, and that's not the way you gotta look at it. Like you gotta look post up, footwork, all that is skill. Like
I think that's included in skill. I think all that is fundamentals.
I I think they had better play with better fundamentals in the 80s and
Oh,
90s and early 2000s.
I think they had a better post game, but that's about it. Post game, I would say is better, but then everything else, I would lean more towards everything else. The
Mid
players today is
range,
better. Uh,
mid range.
uh, they weren't doing dribble pull ups like that. I'm gonna be real, they
Who?
weren't in the '80s.
No, but like
Dribble
who?
pull up.
Dribble pull ups the way that they do it now.
They don't even
From
shoot
the
the
mid
mid range now.
range, from the mid range, the 80s is doing
Oh,
away
my
with.
bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad, my bad,
hey,
my
hey,
bad. I'm
Doug,
tripping. I'm tripping.
Mars, what y'all think of I got this question here. To me, I'm just saying what I seen, and what I look at. Like, what y'all think of Kyrie Irving? I'm just forget his antics and how you feel about him, about leadership wise and trying to carry a team and all that bull crap. Get all that. We just talk about strictly basketball. Put the ball in the hoop, dribble, post up, footwork, finish at the rim. How is Kyrie not a top 5 player in the NBA on that just aspect of not? I ain't seen nobody like Kyrie in my life. Like, I like that dude is so amazing to me. I ain't seen nobody like Kyrie Irving outside of, you know what I mean. And we could arguably say Kyrie basically probably should have won Finals MVP damn near. They could not stop this man in Golden State.
Nah, I don't think Kyrie could have won Finals MVP, but I do think he deserves more credit than a lot of people do give him. Kyrie Irving, I hear a lot of disrespect towards Kyrie Irving. We just argued about that yesterday with Joel, about him being the top 5 point guard and not a superstar. I agree with everything you said. Kyrie Irving, in my opinion, is one of the most amazing players I've ever seen. A lot of things he does, not a lot of people could do. And I just think he brings so much to the game. I think people overrate the fact that a lot of times, whenever he was in a shit scenario, they
Yeah,
act as if that's the whole totality of his game when it's not true. He only was on the Cleveland Cavaliers for a little bit of time. He went to the Boston Celtics, and they were a first seed with Kyrie Irving, who was the best player. Then he had one down season in the next year against on the Boston Celtics. So I do get that point. But then every other year he's been hurt or been on terrible supporting cast, and he didn't even have a full postseason besides the last season to have with Katie to show who he is. So it's like, how can you just sit here and say that this guy isn't who we say he is when your sample size is way smaller to prove that he's not a superstar? I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
I
I mean,
think
Kyrie,
I
go
think
ahead.
Kyrie is one of the most skilled offensively point guards we've ever seen. He might be the most skilled point guard offensively. But the reason I don't think he's top 5 is because I'm not going to go back to my water analogy, but I think what he does, he's excellent in so many aspects of the game. So like his footwork is elite, his mid-range game is elite. Both shoulders, he can turn off both shoulders, he can pull up from any angle, he can finish at any angle around the rim, and he can shoot the long ball, he can shoot off the screen, he can shoot off the catch, etc. He can do all of, and he's a good passer. He can do all of those things. But when I'm looking at him in terms of how he impacts the game doing all of those things, I just don't feel like when I'm watching him, his impact on the game, like as a scorer, he's great. Then I look at him in the playoffs, the scoring efficiency goes down because of how sometimes your biggest strength can be your biggest weakness. The amount of ways he can score is so great, but when you can score so many ways, you eventually end up taking shots that aren't advantageous to your team. He can make so many crazy shots, he ends up taking so many crazy shots. So his efficiency can sometimes hurt his team. Sometimes he can be too shot heavy and he can miss on passing opportunities or playmaking opportunities for his team. Sometimes he can make a layup more difficult than it needs to be. Sometimes he'll take, like I said, he'll take shots he doesn't need to take. His defense, for the most part of his career, has been very suspect. And as a primary ball handler, I think his decision making as a playmaker it leaves a lot to be desired. Even though I think he's a very skilled and competent passer. If you watch the passes Kyrie makes, his floor vision is very good. Like he can read the floor very well, and he knows when to make the right passes. Like Nicholas Claxton's been feeding off Kyrie dimes all season at this point. But the issue I have with him is sometimes he's too gauged towards scoring and ends up that overall hurts his impact, even though it doesn't change the fact that to
But I
me
have to
he's
disagree.
still the most skilled point guard in the NBA.
I'm not gonna lie. I disagree with that take mainly in the playoffs because, like I said, the whole totality of his playoff career, like he's been phenomenal in the playoffs. Like he only has two series in 2019 and then 2022 where it's bad. But last year in 2021 with the Brooklyn Nets, I mean not last year, the year before with the Brooklyn Nets,
Hmm.
2021, he was playing well in the playoffs. In Cleveland, he was playing well in the playoffs in 2017 and 2016, making the pass. Like you said, I mean, he is more of a scorer. We all know that. He does have a good, keen ability to pass the ball and distribute the rock as well. But he's playing with LeBron James at that time, so he didn't have to do it to that extent. Um, but yeah, I mean, to sit here and like criticize Kyrie Irving so badly, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Mars, but for a lot of people, mainly off of like just two postseason runs, I think it's stupid. I'm not gonna lie, I just think it's stupid. I think
Hey,
it's stupid to sit here crucify somebody off of two postseason runs.
hey, Mars and Doug, one and another thing too. Hey, you want to go, bro? I want to. If you have something to say,
I just think Kyrie, he like a smaller version of Kobe without the defense. Like if Kyrie was 6'6" and was a first team all defender, he'd probably be the best player in the NBA right now. I think that hurt him that he's just too little. He's too small.
hey,
I,
what y'all
I can't argue with that.
what y'all think of? Are y'all? I don't know how y'all feel about this, Doug Mars. Where are y'all on? Like, do y'all punish people if they team don't win? Like, say for instance, a guy gets somewhere and they have a bad series or injuries happen or they team don't win. Do y'all say this player not good because his team didn't get it done? Where y'all at on that?
No,
Do y'all put the onus like some people put it like on one guy? You know what I mean? Or a team don't get it done because you know when the playoff times come, it's a lot of teams that have 58 win seasons, 60 wins, and lose in the playoffs. And some teams done blue leads. Like y'all know, once a team figure you out, sometimes it's hard for you to get that momentum back. I go back to the 3-1 lead the Warriors took on
Cleveland.
what was 3-1
Cleveland.
lead
Cleveland.
no the 3-1 lead not Cleveland
OKC.
when they played OKC.
Mm-hmm.
OKC, if you go back and look at that
My bad,
whole
my
year.
bad, my bad. Who has a child in the background? I'm sorry. Who has a child in the background? Somebody crying. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Just
That that OKC team that year, I think Andre Iguodala, he came out and said that they really was the best team in the league that year.
From a talent standpoint, yeah, he did say they were the most talented team. But do I wait for him to come back to answer his question or what?
oh man. To
Why he
answer the
gone?
question, just
Oh,
go
he's
ahead.
back.
Answer the question. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, from I don't judge players from a wins and losses standpoint. I don't. I think it's like I don't give single players credit when a team wins. Like I don't say Steph Curry beat the Boston Celtics, Golden State beat the Boston Celtics. I don't give a player sole credit when a team loses. I don't say Steph Curry lost to Cleveland, Golden State lost to Cleveland. I do think single players can be more impactful towards the result of a game. Like that's why you have MVPs, or you can just watch the game and see who was the most impactful. So I think those things are true, but I'm not going to say a player is worse because their team lost to another team. Like that's ridiculous to me. Like the '09 Cavs didn't make LeBron worse because he lost to Orlando. That's not what happened. So it's just some people do it like that. I don't like it because then if you give them all the credit when they lose, you have to give them all the credit when they win. And if you give them all the credit when they win, you have to give them all the credit when they lose. And people seem to not be able to do that both ways. And that's the issue I have. So I just say teams win, players don't win, players contribute to a team winning. That's all it is.
I think
Uh.
go ahead, Doug.
My whole thing is I analyze like every series and every game like differently from one another. So if I sit here and see like Paul George, right? Me and Mars had this debate about Paul George and Russell Westbrook and blaming the series on Russell Westbrook or Paul George. I mainly held Paul George, and I looked at him more of the guy to blame, mainly because I thought that Russ was trying to play through him. I recognized that Russ was trying to play through him, and Paul George wasn't answering that call. So my mind frame, if Paul George struggling, he's not performing, he's not answering that call, and I see the guy literally trying to feed into that, I'm gonna put more of that blame on Paul George. I just analyze it differently. Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant against the 2016 Golden State Warriors, right? I don't really sit here and say like we just have to absolve him with all the blame because I do understand he played bad. I think Russell Westbrook gets the short end of the stick a lot of the times because of that. But then I do understand that the spacing on that team was terrible as well for Russ and KD to succeed. I mean, yeah, Andre Roberson out there who wasn't a floor spacer, Steven Adams out there who's not a floor spacer. Ibaka was a floor spacer, but it's not to like a crazy extent. But even then, you're relying on KD and then Ibaka to space the floor for your team. That's not really a recipe I think that team could, get over the hump. The fact that they were up 3-1 was actually a surprise to me, in my opinion. But yeah, I just analyze it differently, bro. I mean, every series is different. I look at every series or game differently, and whatever they show me is whatever they show me, bro. If one person's to blame, I'm gonna blame that one person. But if not, it is what it is. Like LeBron James against Miami in 2011, I will always say I'm putting all of that blame on him because, in my opinion, if he played to himself, they would have won. It is what it is. And I also give credit to Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki showed out crazy in that whole 2011 finals run. It is what it is. Give him credit for that. But I do understand the context of Dirk. In order for Dirk to succeed, LeBron James had to fail. And that's just a fact. So, I
Yeah, I
mean, it
think
is what it is. So, how am I going to sit here and I could praise Dirk Nowitzki for overperforming, but I do need to understand that why he won. And part of the reason, a big part of the reason why he won is because LeBron folded. And I can't sit here and say just because Dirk won in 2011, he's better than a guy like a Karl Malone or better than a guy like a Kevin Garnett because of that one ring. I think I just don't do it like that.
yeah, I don't think these players win by coincidence or just because like they got a good team. I think if like the Steph Currys and the LeBrons and the Kobe's and Jordan, they win multiple championships because they the best player. If you winning 3, 4 plus 5 plus championships, you winning because not you the best player. Yeah, you got a good team around you, but it's a lot of players who have good teams. Like it's plenty. It's 4, 8, 12 good teams in the NBA. These other players got good teams too, but they not winning. I think the separator is the best player. If you a top 2, 3 best player in the world, that's who's gonna win the championship. It's been like that throughout history. The 70s, 80s. 80s, you had Magic and Bird. They won all the championships. The 90s, Jordan won. When Jordan retired, Olajuwon won the 2 championships when Jordan retired. He was the best player.
Can I ask you
Kobe.
this?
That's because they put good teams around these best players. You're not going to waste these players' talents.
No, but my point is,
for example, if Kobe was on Orlando where T-Mac was, he's not winning. That doesn't make Kobe worse. He just had a bad situation.
No,
that's the way I'm viewing it.
No, if you ain't got the team, then you ain't got the team. But I'm saying once you do get the team, and like say, T-Mac, he had a team in Houston. When he was in Houston, he had a championship.
They kept getting hurt though.
They had one run together, and I think they lost to the Jazz. I think.
I think
every other year they couldn't. They weren't on the court at the same time. Either Yao was hurt or he was hurt. But yeah, he did have a team in Houston, so you're not wrong.
But even then, like even the best players, think about it like this: the best players in the world, right? A large portion of the time, they also have the best supporting cast in the league as well.
That ain't true.
So who won?
I don't think
who won and didn't have damn near the best supporting cast in the league.
I don't think the Warriors had. I don't think the Warriors had the best supporting. Curry had the best supporting cast when he won.
Who should they have lost to?
The Warriors' first year.
Who should they have lost to?
No, I'm about to tell you. The first year when they won 67 games, they weren't expected to win the 67 games, win the championship. They started that season with a plus 2,800 odds to win the championship. So, and that the preseason rank is going off, the talent you have on your roster. That's all they can judge you by.
But things could change.
Warriors was not this talented, super talented team.
I feel you, but things could change.
It was the AC the year before.
Things could change. Things could change throughout the process of a season. A team could show you something else that they're a title contending team, and that's what happened in 2015. Like in football, like the Carolina Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl, nobody knew that they were going to make the Super Bowl. But what the team showed us is they showed us to be playing at that high of a level. I mean, that's what happened. So
because
I can't say
Cam Newton had that incredible season.
The defense was amazing. The defense was elite as well. The defense was phenomenal, right?
But the defense was elite. It was always good over there, though.
But
the difference was Cam Newton. He had his best year.
No, I think we all agree the best players are what makes these teams. Like you can't have, for example, the Golden State 2015, 2016 team, just the whole roster, and then not have Steph Curry and expect that team to be good or expect that team to win. We agree. The difference makers are these superstar level outlier players. Shaq was a difference maker. Kobe was a difference maker. LeBron, Steph, MJ, Magic, Kareem. They're the difference makers.
Right.
But I can't judge you solely on winning and losing when I can understand that even though you're the difference maker, you tip the scales. If the scales are totally imbalanced, you're not going to win. You have to have the scales at an even playing field for where you can tip it in your favor. That's where you show how good you are. You show that you're the difference. But in order for that to even come into effect, the teams have to be somewhat even or somewhat balanced in the first place. That's all I'm trying to say.
Like I don't think the Warriors was a more talented team than the Cavs in 2016. I think the Cavs was better than them talent wise on paper.
I think
'Cause,
talent wise, on paper in 2016,
Well, the Cavs won anyway, so
the
even if they
Cavs
were
won,
more talented, so
but
the
it still
Cavs
wasn't.
won, but I still think Warriors was the better team.
I feel you on that, but
I just think
the
I,
Cavs were still an elite supporting cast for LeBron James. They had Kyrie, they had Kevin Love, they had J.R. Smith. It was still an elite supporting cast compared to everybody else. The Golden State Warriors was still an elite supporting cast for Stephen Curry compared to everybody else. I mean, the Miami Heat was an elite supporting cast compared to everybody else in the league that LeBron James had. Tim Duncan had also a great supporting cast when he was winning as well. I mean, Kobe Bryant had an elite supporting cast when he was winning as well. All of these great players that we hold in a top 10, top 5 realm had also an elite supporting cast to go with those guys. So if the
nah,
best of the
okay.
best players need an elite supporting cast to win, why am I crucifying guys who don't have that same elite supporting cast?
No, I agree with that. I agree that these players need a great supporting cast. But I'm saying other players have great supporting cast as well who don't win, especially win multiple championships.
I
Like
think there's
Charles
some, yeah,
Barkley. Charles
yeah.
Barkley had a good team in Phoenix.
Hmm.
Karl Malone in Utah, they had a good squad, but they couldn't win because Michael Jordan was the difference maker. I don't think Michael Jordan. I think people overrate Michael Jordan's help that he had on his team.
They
I don't think
overrate.
they were.
Well,
I don't think they was that good.
Karl Malone losing to your Utah Jazz. I mean, who was better, Karl Malone or Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan,
Who was better, Scottie Pippen or John Stockton?
Pippen. But listen,
So the two
but
best
listen,
guys
but
is
listen,
going to the Bulls' favor. So that
but listen.
supporting cast is still not better.
In '98,
Hmm.
Jordan was he pretty much carried them in the finals in '98.
And John Stockton didn't play well in the
Remember that
finals as
game
well.
six? The game six. Well, he had 45. The team only scored what 80 points, 87 points. So
yeah,
how
something
much
like
help
that.
did he really have? Like in a game like that, Michael Jordan was the difference maker. He had to rise to the occasion.
Oh yeah,
He had to
100%,
rise to the occasion.
100 point. The only point
If
I'm
he don't
saying,
rise to the occasion, they lose. They could
the only
possibly
point I'm
lose that.
saying, you brought up like Karl Malone having an elite supporting cast. And one, Karl Malone lost to a better player, and on top of losing to a better player, he lost to the better player who had also a better supporting cast around him, right? So it's kind of hard for me to knock him if he went to back-to-back finals with a lesser supporting cast and losing to a guy who was better than him with a lesser supporting cast.
I don't know that Karl Malone had a lesser supporting cast. I think Pippen. I mean, Pippen was
That
better than
defense was crazy, bro. That defense for the Bulls was wild.
'98 though. I think because
98
Yeah,
still was
even in that, I mean, I go to this game a lot. I watched the Jazz score 50 points. I'm sorry, like
their
you can't
defense
score
was
50. The Jazz.
like
I'm
for
looking at
instance
the Jazz.
against Phoenix. Jordan had to average 41. Jordan had to average 41 points in that series. If he don't do that, they might lose that series.
Phoenix won with Charles Barkley. I'm more lenient towards you, but then on top of that, the Phoenix defense wasn't that well. Offensively, they had good help with like Kevin Johnson, and
Their defense basically was Dan Marley, and I don't know how he was making all defensive teams, but like I'm not discrediting the rings. Jordan was the difference maker, 100%. That's what these great players do. They make the difference in these series. I'm just saying, without Jordan's help, he's not in the position for him to be the difference maker. I think that's the point me and Dub are making. So we agree with you that when you get there, the difference is these Michael Jordans, these Kobe's, etc. But in order to get there, you don't get there without the pieces around you. That's why I can't give you all the credit when you win, and I won't give you all the blame when you lose. I think like if they lost to the Jazz in '98, I'm not gonna say it's Michael Jordan's fault. I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say the Bulls lost. I'm gonna say there's a bunch of reasons why they lost. Scottie Pippen had a bad back. Maybe MJ wasn't scoring as well as he could. Maybe Dennis Rodman not being the Dennis Rodman we all knew, that could play a factor. Maybe Phil Jackson couldn't adjust the Utah Jazz pick and roll offense. There's a lot of things I would say before I just say it's all MJ's fault. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. It ain't, they get bulk of the credit, but not all of it. No, you're right.
Yeah, I don't agree with that way of thinking of giving all of the guys. I don't agree with giving MJ all of the credit, but then also giving him like all the credit of winning and losing. I don't like that way of thinking. It's a team. You give him a
Yeah,
good bulk of it, but all of it and praising like LeBron James for making it to all these finals. I mean, like come on, bro. Like it wasn't just him going there. But
Hey,
I, what you gotta say, Cruiser?
hey, man, this is my last question, man. What y'all think of this year coming out the East? Y'all think Philly gonna come out the East? Philly looking like a team that can come out the East.
They sleeper team.
I said that preseason, and people call me crazy.
I don't know. No,
Only
Philly.
because the only reason I would give Philly the benefit of doubt because it seems like the Eagles may win the Super Bowl. So mainly since Todd wants me to talk about mentality, maybe that could boost their mentality, their confidence to go win one for the city. But I'm picking Boston, bro. I think Boston is the best team in the league.
I don't trust. I don't trust Harden and Embiid. I think both of them are playoff chokers. So until they prove to me that they can go into the playoffs and rise to the occasion and play better than they do in the regular season, I don't trust them. I like Milwaukee out the East and go. I like Golden State.
Oh,
I like Golden State out the West.
oh, not Milwaukee. I
They got.
know.
I mean,
I feel you. I feel you. It's the honest love. But I'm gonna bring one more guy up here, bro. And you guys have a good one. All right. Appreciate y'all for being up here.
all right, bro, for sure.
Peace. That was nice.
I enjoyed that.
What's good, Killer?
This guy's been waiting here for like the whole time. I swear.
Yeah, Killer.
Hey,
Before you go, let me say something real quick for our Lucra Wager Week. This show is sponsored by Lucra. Use code Players Choice, get a free $5. The barcode's right here for anybody who wants to be a part of it. Have some bets with me and Mars. Have some bets with the players. I mean, wagers with the Players Choice community. Have some fun. You feel me? Chat it up with us. Talk some shit. Uh, that's just what we do, bro. On the Lucra Wager app, man. But Killer 69, bro. What's good, fam? Send us
hey,
off on a good
man,
one, bro.
man, I that that low debate was fun, man. That
Yeah, you
debate
was
with
killing him.
low was fun.
You was
Hey,
killing him. You
man,
gotta go on low nose. You gotta go on low nose, man. You
uh,
got to.
You gotta educate people on Steve
yes,
Nash, man. You gotta do it.
yeah. So, like, what's your both argument in this case that sports evolve and so does the player and the skill level of the game, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so like if that's the argument, then I would like to make that clear that the evolution almost happened in every decade. Like 70s was different than 60s, 80s was completely different than 70s, and 90s was different than 80s, and 2000 was fucking alien planet compared to 90s, especially the early part of 2000s. Like there was a really infamous game of 69-74 Pacers and Detroit game. Shout out to that. And
Mhm.
that's not even the craziest game. You know what is even more crazier than that? It
What?
was like 1947 or 1949-ish. There was
Mhm.
like Minneapolis Laker and Fort Wayne Piston game. You know what was the score? 19 and 18.
Yep.
19
Yep.
and 18 score game
Do you know
in a
why?
basketball.
Do you know why?
Yeah, there was no shot clock.
That was insane.
That's why that doesn't count. That's just anything before 1955 doesn't even like. If you
That
played any basketball before 1955, you don't count. Bob Cousy, you don't count.
yeah.
I'm
So
just saying.
like my argument, your argument is that player also get better with time, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
If that's the argument, then 2000s as a whole is certainly a evolved version of 90s, right?
It's a what?
2000s is the
Evolved,
evolution of the 90s.
I guess
right?
it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess it is.
It is evolved version like defensive scheme changed a lot due to introduction of zone. We
I
have
think. Yeah.
more switchable different like that. Detroit was the switch team in
The team.
2000, and Spurs similarly adopt that style. Yeah,
The
What do you
defenses, the
want to say,
defenses,
Dub?
the defenses in the 2000s mainly became so low scoring because of one pace, and then the spacing of the league was like at an all-time worst because of the illegal defensive rules in the zones that was implemented, right? So you've seen a bunch of like games not even break 100, games going to 90 and 80 mainly because of that. And then once the league had to adjust, and the league started adjusting in 2009, or like, well, the league started adjusting with the Steve Nash
League
Phoenix Suns.
started adjusting moment handshake was banned. The moment handshake was when we see 7 seconds of sun flourishing, and
And then it was
similarly,
the
Mavs
Suns.
started to win a lot of game.
It
Those
was the
Mavs
Suns.
team,
It was the Suns, and then the Orlando Magic as well. The Orlando Magic doesn't get
that
enough credit
Orlando
for.
Magic team was light year ahead. Like
Yeah,
that Hideo Turkoglu, Rashad Lewis, Jamar Nelson, Michael Petris on the bench. That was nasty team. I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
I
Those were the guys. Those were the guys that was starting the trend of spacing,
trained that.
adding more guys on the 3-point line, so that it gives guys like a Dwight Howard to dominate in the paint. And a lot of teams started following suit in the years to come,
And
and
you
that was a
know
trend
when
setter.
this style got the stamp of approval, like stamp of approval that this style work, like even when this style was successing and becoming league trend, this style was not winning. Suns always get their ass kicked by Spurs routinely. Orlando got bitch slapped by Laker in '09. You know which team make this style work, the small ball style, and win championship through it? It was Miami.
Yeah, it was
It was
LeBron. Yeah,
Miami that sucks.
No, it was
It
Miami.
was
Don't. It was
Miami.
Miami. Yes, it was Miami. Don't do that. It was Miami.
my bad. It was
Yeah, it was
Miami.
Miami. It was Miami. Like, like you guys know one interesting fact that before 2012 final began, the favorite were Thunder. Thunders were the favorite to win, not Miami. Like right now we say that, oh, the Thunders were way too young team, but favorites were Thunder before the series. I'm not making this shit up. You can look at the bets out from Vegas. You can look from the Bleacher Report, and you know what their reason was? They have Kendrick Perkin and Serge Ibaka. Their reasoning was that, like, their reasoning was essentially that Thunder would be too big for Heat, and that length exactly become their uselessness. Like
Mhm.
the way Heat begin the small ball lineup, Perk
James
become
Harden,
useless.
James Harden. I'm not gonna lie, James Harden did massively underperform what he was doing in the early, like
That was gag
in
job.
the Western.
That was the play of Harden we know and love.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
that was the
I,
start of playoff Harden.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. When I
but
look at that series, I don't think of it more like like just because they were running like a stretch big. That's the reason why they won. I look at more in that series like James Harden in 2011. No, no, wait, in 2012, he was playing really well in the Western
2012
Conference
he had
rounds.
like
He was playing really
win
well,
Western Conference
and
final.
then
He was cooking those
he fell off.
Spurs.
He was
My God, like
in the finals he fell off. It was
he
crazy.
sucked ass. He sucked ass. Like I was like, shoot threes. I'm like, let James Harden shoot three. Don't let ball get to Kevin Durant, and I will live through that. And it sounds crazy today. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
another thing though. Then I have one interesting question for you all.
Got you,
Sports
got
get
you.
evolved. Sports evolve with time. Player get better with time. So is LeBron better than Jordan because he dominated more evolved era?
LeBron's the goat. LeBron's the goat.
Yep.
I already said this. LeBron is
Best.
the goat. He's been playing at this level
Amen.
for damn near 20 years now. It's like he's the GOAT, bro. I can't. You can't deny this anymore. You just can't. It
And
is
the
what it
thing
is.
is, like, I'm following your logic, Dub. Like, I'm following your logic. Sports
Nah, he was.
evolve a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, like sports evolve. Sports is significantly different in 2010s, the era which LeBron dominated, compared to late 80s to 90s with Jordan dominate.
Hmm.
Sports
Hmm.
completely evolve, and your argument is sports get better. So isn't LeBron GOAT? He dominate
Yeah,
the better era.
I said LeBron's the GOAT already. Yeah, LeBron's the GOAT.
Yeah,
You
if
guys
that's
don't
the
talk about
thinking
LeBron.
process, and you are,
We
and if
can't
you are
talk about LeBron
consistent,
James anymore though. We can't talk about LeBron James. Mark doesn't want to talk about LeBron James though. But yo, I appreciate you being up here though, brother. Appreciate it for real,
if
bro.
that's your logic, I agree with that. Like MJ and Bran, like those two are like so much head and shoulder above everyone in GOAT candidate term standpoint. I
Yeah,
agree
they
with
are.
that take.
I got you, bro. Hey, you be safe, bro. You be easy, man. You have a good one. Enjoy your
Hey man,
Friday,
it
bro.
was fun conversation.
Yes,
See you
sir.
all later, man.
See you later.
You
Peace.
too.
All right, let me read off these super chats, man. Thoughts on Walker Kessler being the White Howard?
Walker Kessler making it look like Rudy Gobert was just a product of Utah Jazz system,
Maybe it is. Maybe it
even
is,
though it's a
Mars.
different coach. But you get
Maybe
the
it is,
point.
Mars. Maybe it is, Mars.
Shush.
You're welcome. Daryl Smith, where does Dame rank all time as one of the most clutchest players ever?
In the regular season and first round, he's like top 5, top 10. In the second round and beyond, he's not on the list. So if you want to balance that out,
Don't do my
like,
mans like that. Stop
like
doing
top
the
20.
second round nonsense, bro. Jesus Christ.
What does Dame look like outside the first
I
round?
don't care, bro. You gotta understand, bro.
I
Like,
care.
who
I
did he
care.
have? Who did he have
I
next to him? He
care. I
doesn't.
care.
When
I
teams
care.
could just key in on you, bro, it is what it is. He was
Mm-hmm.
going up against the Golden State Warriors, which was an elite defense. The Pelicans was a great defense with
Mm-hmm.
Rondo and Drew. Like,
That
come
was the
on,
that
bro.
was the first round. I mean, I watched them. Denver's an elite defense.
He cooked Denver.
No, 2019, not 2021. 2019. Cook Denver?
Oh,
No, he didn't.
2019? No. He didn't cook Denver in
Okay,
2019. I
but
feel
that
you
is
on
that an
that.
elite? Is that an elite defense?
But still, bro. Still, he doesn't have the score.
Is that an
No, I
elite
said no.
defense?
I said no. But
Right.
still, bro, Dame. But the majority of cases, bro, he's facing elite defenses, man. It is
Mm-hmm.
what it is. You give him a team with other guys that could challenge the teams, put them on their toes. Because CJ's not that guy. I don't think he was ever that guy. To be a two? Nah, he was never that guy to be a two. Three,
Well,
maybe.
he's only been past the first round. What? 3 times.
Who,
So
Dame?
yeah, so like because you got
Yeah.
2014 when he beat Houston. Then he played the Spurs, who are a great defense. Wasn't good. Then 2015 they lost, I think. 2016 they lost in the second round. They beat who they beat in the first round.
2016?
Yeah,
2016?
2016 I think they beat the Clippers round one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I could be
Clippers,
wrong.
yeah.
Someone fact. Okay. 2016 they beat the Clippers. Then they lost. Then he lost to the Golden State Warriors in round two, a team without Steph Curry for like more than half that series. Played trash in that series. 2017 he got swept by Golden State. 2018 then he got swept by New Orleans. And then 2019 he had the OKC series, and then the second round was mids against Denver. Then the conference finals against Golden State with no KD, he was mid again. Then 2020 was the bubble, but he had the injury, so you can let 2020 slide. That's fine. And then 2021 he lost to Denver, but was great. Like overall, I'm looking at Dame's playoff career. It's not just about wins and losses. Like I've said, I've given my opinion on that. But consistently in the playoffs, yes, he plays elite defenses, but in order to win, you have to play elite defenses. He just doesn't do it outside the first round. Like he just doesn't. He never has, and I don't know if he ever will, because A, I don't know if his team's gonna make it, and B, I just don't think he can.
Yeah, that's where I disagree, right? So I look at the teams in which he was going, apart from like the Denver Nuggets, I'll give you the Denver Nuggets, but a lot of teams in which he's going up against, it's far easier for them to key in on Damian Lillard. When you're playing next to like a CJ, even the offense that they have is like really like Dame and CJ dependent. Like you were talking about Nick McMillan, like my turn, your turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to that. That the team is similar constructed to that stance where it's my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. So like when you're having a team, being on a team like that with not that great of weapons, not that great of a offensive scheme, it's like I expect this to happen for you. Like Portland has been carrying the Portland Trailblazers for damn near a decade now on his back. And it's like, come on, bro. If he's on Miami, I want him to come Miami. Because if he's on Miami, bro, I think we could make the finals.
I still don't think he'd play great outside the first round.
I think he would. I think being on that unit of guys of offensive scheme that's better than what he had on Portland. You have a Jimmy and Bam that he could lean on as well. I mean, bro, I like that team's chances a lot better, and I don't think that he falls. I don't think that he underperforms. But Dame's gonna be a guy. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be like Allen Iverson. Somebody just put AI is greater than Dame. They're gonna look at that after the second round, and they're gonna say the narratives that you had, and then the same way I was defending AI, I'm gonna have to be defending Damian Lillard.
I think AI. I think he is over Dame. I
Yeah,
don't think that's I don't think
but they're
that's
gonna
crazy.
crucify Dame the same way.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Who's winning the most clutch player award?
I'm not gonna lie. Bob was right. It's De'Aaron Fox. I'm not gonna. It's De'Aaron Fox. It is De'Aaron Fox.
Well, listen, that concludes today, bro. We damn near 3 hours, bro. Y'all be easy. It was a great time, bro. Anything to say, Mars?
Trade James Wiseman. Like, you know how it is. Trade James Wiseman. It's always trade James Wiseman.
Y'all be easy. Remember the bar to Frozen. Peace.